Good evening, everybody, and welcome to, don't mind me just nudging over here, welcome to the PUBG Mobile European Women's League Season 3. We're back at it again. Of course, I am Natura. Hello, and I'm joined this time round by Highland Wolf. How are you?
Hello, I'm here, and I'm joining you from the right side of the screen here, Natura. I mean, I'm doing well. We just had also recently the Lady Legends showdown, so I'm really excited. Also coming from that tournament, kind of a mid-break between the mid-season showdown last year, and I'm gonna tell you here, Natura, there's some really exciting changes. There's definitely a lot more skill in with these teams. These ladies have evolved, they've adapted, and I think we've got a really strong batch of players and new challenges coming here.
Well, I am excited to see it. Yeah, I couldn't be part of the Lady Legends. I was really sad about that, but I'm here now. I'm ready to see what these gals have to offer us since October. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it has been quite a few months since that mid-season. So I'm really excited to see who we've got coming in here. I did notice a few new names. Definitely some new orgs have joined the scene with some really good experienced teams. So I'm excited. We do have, 10 days total for this event. Week 1 is going to be just 4 days. I think we'll see that slide coming up here in just a second. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting format coming in here, and I think you'll be able to showcase all of the talent we got coming in here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, the tournament, right? This time we're starting off with the 2 groups once again. So we're going to have 18 teams here, Neptura, on Group A tonight, and then Group B also tomorrow night. And then we're going to alternate as well between these teams and these groups. So we're going to get to see these teams play in and out. I'm going to get to see what they can be made of and then learn from that day off and then come back the second day as well, which I think will be something really exciting. And we're also going to only see the top 3, keep in mind, Neptura here as well, go through to the grand finals. So there's a very small amount of teams that are going to go straight to those finals from this first round. In that week 2 is really where those teams later on in the tournament icing it out, right?
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where these strategies lie with these teams, because I think coming from a coaching perspective, I think not all of these teams are going to be aiming for that top 3 position. I think there are going to be a few top teams who have done this before or who are really, really experienced who are going to go, yeah, we can make top 3. That is our goal for the next 2 days. What I think most teams are going to be looking for is those 4th to 15th places there. So 3 teams will drop out of week 1, but 4th to 15th will go ahead and go over to week 2. And that's where you're going to start seeing a lot of teams start to really just start scrapping and trying to figure out where they're going, who's going home from those, because it's only the top 10 from week 2. So we lose 3 teams each group in week 1 and 8 teams each in week 2 as well. So quite a few teams going home, but for now, we've not said goodbye to anybody just yet. Instead, we're going to be saying hello to our 18 teams for Group A.
Yeah, and I think also the split between these 2 groups as well is going to be something interesting to note here, Neptura. Group A, definitely a lot more of these newer teams that we're going to be able to see. I'm really also surprised tomorrow we'll get to see Group B. We can hint and we can foreshadow is pretty much a group of death we were discussing, right?
Yes.
Also the maps we should mention here, Neptura, as well, going to be something pretty standard, right? I always like to call my Erangel sandwich, a little bit of spice of Sanhok in the middle, some Miramar there to beef up the sandwich either side.
Yep, indeed. It's a good map rotation, to be honest. I like the Sanhok's in the middle. Gives us a little bit of action after lower Miramar because it's just so big. And it's going to be interesting to really test these teams between the big, large, slow map of Miramar and the really fast-paced, really small Sanhok. So they've really got to adapt very quickly to these different maps. And I think it's a great show of skill if they're able to do all of these successfully.
Yeah, I mean, Sanhok for sure, one of those maps where we saw in mid-season showdown was an absolute game breaker in terms of the standings, Neptura. Every single night that we seem to have it, and that's where the standings really flipped at midpoint in the night, and the momentum as well, being in the middle, of course, Neptura. It's going to be interesting to see how that shifts if, again, we end up with some of these lower placed teams in the standings coming up in Sanhok with a really strong performance, how that then affects those teams, as we can see here, going on throughout the night.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. We going into our squad rosters now, just to give you a breakdown of who is who, because a lot of these ladies are regulars. We've seen them time and time again, and this first slide is no exception. I gotta say, Highland. We've seen De Muerte come in here. There's a few names we recognize there, Flex as well, but it's namely SBG and Shockwave. Shockwave in particular being that
Mm.
roster that we know and love.
Yeah, I mean, Shockwave really is the French team coming together, the French players. We've got Lisa there, I think, was one of the big names that we saw throughout previous tournaments. Also, Amelia going to be, and Caramelia as well, we could say too, is another one of two of those names where we're really going to be looking at what those two ladies can bring forward to the tournament and how they're going to adapt. Also with here, Red and Oreo, going to be two of the newer names for them, I believe, coming into the roster overall. So it will be intriguing to see how they adapt as a team cohesively.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how they go as we go over to the next one. The next slide over here, Barce. And again, we got some really big names in Barce. Yildiz, Zeros. Both of these girls have been a big contender in the last few seasons. They're joined by Fazir, Athena, and also Sila as well. And we've seen them as well. So it's going to be an interesting one to see them compete again. But, QSA Esports as well, Melzi, Bianchi, Malus, Purple, big names coming in here. You got Barbie, you've got Licious, you've got Maya, One Tap, Oh Daddy, Nature, and Leora. I mean, Mad Bulls girls, another stacked roster.
Yeah, I mean, Mad Bulls, we also saw them in the Lady Legends Showdown. They were one of the top teams, if I do remember rightly, who were competing in that tournament. So to see them back together as also that team, I'm really curious to see how they'll adapt now in a longer scale format, right? That goes on for multiple weeks at a time. And Barca Esports, as you said, I think another one of those names that we saw in previous tournaments again. I want to see how they adapt now. Also with the names, right? They've got Zeros, they've got Sila there. Potentially also with these new players, it's always going to be a risk if it works out or not. This is the interesting thing we could say in Futura about these squads is they do change and they do shuffle, and that now creates a new context or a new environment. These players have to all come together and compete against these other teams and also the squad roster, should we say, as we move through to our next four. Fairway and a few of these other teams like Fatum, Lex Slayers are also the new contenders coming into this season of the Lady Legends.
Yeah, it's really nice to see a lot of new names. Now, I could get a bunch of DMs going, I've just changed my name. I'm not a new player. And maybe that is it, but I'm sure it's not the case for every single one of these. So, when I say there's some new blood on the scene, I love to see it. Really, really nice. I mean, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see because it's not Group B. You don't have the previous champions, for instance, in here, but you do have some really talented OGs. So it is going to be a nice starting point for these girls to really compete at a higher level and get their bearings, see where they're going to be going. As we move on, I think this might be one of the last slides we've got for you here this evening for Group A. But Slime Machines in here. You got Freeps, Gristo, all these girls. Lena Six. I always kind of have a hard time saying that name because is it right? Am I saying that right? Lena Six? I don't know. I'm gonna try.
This is where like you have the letters or the numbers, sorry, but are actually the letters as well. I mean, I always wonder sometimes myself. You gotta feel the vibe, Neptura, of whether it's whether it's actually a letter or not, or if it's just the number. I think also in terms of the teams though as well, you were mentioning some of the veteran teams in Group B. I mean, Group A's no pushover as well. I mean, Slime Machine, a very well-known organization as well, still here in PUBG Mobile, and Bonfire Esports is a finalist team in the Lady Legends mid-season showdown last year. So there are still going to be some big names, and I think some expected teams to go through into, if not the finals already, definitely into week 2.
100%. Absolutely. I'm excited. We have 5 games, not a whole, if you're thinking about, if you're used to 6 games, 5 is a big jump down, just because you have less time to actually get those points under your belt. If Miramar is your best game, you've got 3 others. You don't have that 4th game, that extra game to get extra points on. So you've really got to be really, really on point with your strats and everything, and you really can't have that many bad games. I mean, yes, we only are losing 3 teams this week, but it is still a possibility, and you're really going to start to see where these teams fall on that leaderboard as we get later on into today. They only have 10 games, not 12.
And this is the thing as well, is it's only 10 games, it's only 2 days to really decide the fate of these teams going either into the finals, into week 2, and of course we still have to say goodbye to some of these teams as well at the end of this first week. So it is going to be a tough one. It's going to be a long road as well. We have to keep in mind it is a marathon, really, these types of tournaments. It's not a sprint. We're going to have to keep the stamina up, you could say, for these teams going into the next weeks, and also keep the morales high. I think another aspect, though, of these longer tournaments here in Neptura is that it's a tournament of momentum. It's not just this first week, and we might not see some of our favorite teams going all out in this first week as well. Maybe they don't divulge some of the strategies that they've got set for these future weeks too. So they will adapt, they will learn, and I'm really excited to see how these teams grow as well, coming in later into the tournament, whoever we get to see there.
100%. Absolutely. I think week 2 is going to be really, really interesting. But for week 1 at the same time, I think we are going to be seeing some interesting strategies coming through here. Because as you mentioned, you don't want to show all your cards all at once. Certainly not in day 1 of week 1. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. I'm going to see what kind of tactics teams are using to avoid their main tactics, if that makes sense. Kind of to throw teams off here a little bit. But here we go. Chat, everybody watching this, all 49 of you, hello, welcome to the show, and we are going into the first game of Erangel.
We are, and I love some of the planes that also arrived down. I mean, this is one epic dragon. I mean, the Lunar New Year is the dragon. I mean, it is the year of the Dragon of Chura, and I'm really looking to see what kind of fiery actions and how the ladies get their claws stuck into these games. And jumping into our first one, I hope we can really get to see some big action overall. I mean, also the drop spots overall for these ladies, we've noted, I think, if it's going to be anything like the Lady Legends tournament, the last one here, these teams definitely going to favor around the Georgeport area, around that Mount Everest side. Yes, Yaya Pollyanna also has been one of those projected favorite locations for these teams from what we've seen in previous tournaments overall for these players. Not so much the South, though. The South, there's not a lot of love going towards the Northcom military base. I'm hoping we get to see some more teams down there later, Neptura, and throughout this tournament, because it's one of those locations that I really love.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't everybody, honestly. It's such a dynamic location that really puts these teams to a test, puts any team to a test, to be honest. And so I'm really excited to see where teams go with that. But this game is not going to be it for us. The first game is going to go up to Georgeport area, up to the shooting range a little bit. But mostly we've got Everest, we got Ruins, and we have Roshawk. Going to be an interesting one to see. Also, good to note that most of the teams are actually not in zone. That flight path was okay for this zone, but the teams have decided not to take advantage of that. So you only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams fully inside of the circle right now. So we're going to see a big push coming in from the south and a big push coming in from the east. I have to figure that out every time.
It's always to get me. I was trying to plan earlier when I was speaking to our producer, and I was trying to show him the background if it was okay, and I got the left and the right wrong. Okay, it happens to. And how long has it been now? How many broadcasts have I done now? That's true. How many hours? And I'm still getting the left and the right wrong. It's absolutely unreal how simple things still get me. But yeah, as you said, right, it is at the right side of the map. It is the east side. I got that one right. But
Yeah,
it is gonna be busy around here. Yes, Poliana. A lot of teams gonna be centered around there by the plane path. Expecting some of those teams to rotate as well along that western coastal line. We can already see some of those vehicles on the move in towards Georgia Pole. Really think that come the end of phase 1, phase 2, these teams will start to utilize those cities as well to get a hold of some more information, some position into towards the center of the zone. I also think, on the other hand of that, though, that eastern side that we mentioned, right, that bridge coming in just past the central part of Erangel, where that kind of eastern edge of the zone itself is here in Natura, that's also going to be a big point that we could look at potentially of a lot of those teams rotating through if they all decide to funnel in directly to that zone.
Interesting from these girls from Foreign Esports. We've got a little bit of a setup slash loot coming up in here. It's a good position to keep hold of, to kind of just keep and hold and keep and hold and see what happens. But meanwhile, we do have a little bit more action coming in over onto Yasnaya. Slime Machines over here. You got Freeps, you got Gristo, you have everybody here. Luna 6 as well. Nice little line up on the edge of the city while you have that other team over there. Can't quite see who that is. BSY is over inside the city itself. So we could see something happen there. It's a little bit early for any altercations to start happening now, but Gristo has 345.56 ammo, and she's not even doubling the AR. She's got an Uzi as well. This is my kind of girl. She's a hoarder. I love it.
Oh, you know I love an Uzi as well, Neptura. I mean, we don't get enough of the Uzi close range action, honestly. I mean, I always used to joke in the past as well, but if I could have ever the opportunity, and I still feel like I do it now, is you have the Uzi in the Scorpion, and you just go in guns blazing. It's complete lunacy, close range combat, but it's amazing, and this is how I play, because I'm gonna hide in the house, phase 5. And I'm gonna blast anyone who goes through my front door. There's no one allowed. There's no welcome mat. There's only an Uzi and a Scorpion waiting inside.
My problem with the Uzi, I have to say, is I'm a spray and pray kind of gal, and the Uzi does not have enough bullets to be enough for me. I miss the first 25, and then I have to reload, and I die. So the Uzi requires precision I do not have.
Yeah, and that's where the Scorpion comes in, right? Because then you switch over to that and you can spray and pray a second close range combat.
Exactly.
This is the plan, right? See it. This is your IQ strats for all the misplays of spamming. I relate to you, Neptura.
100%. Langer's Bliss, though. It's probably Langers. It's probably not how I'm saying it, but Langer's Bliss. Gonna go full American on that one. Gassing up, getting some gas in that buggy. They're making their way up from the south side, and so far, looks like they're timing this correctly. There's no one around them. They're looking fine. So they'll have a nice, easy entry into zone, and they can set up as they please. When you have a zone like this and you kind of think there might be a few teams around you, you always want to go in a little extra early, in my opinion, because then you can go ahead and get situated there. I seeing a little bit of that Bra Esports coming in here as well, just giving that scout out. So good job there. She's going to go back, relay that information, and they might head out somewhere else.
And this is, again, just what these teams are going to do. They're going to look around. I think that as well, scout, as we say, towards the edge of the zone. A lot of these ladies that we've got to know, they do like to hold on sometimes to the edge of the zone. There are still a fair number of them, though, and I'm curious to see if they will end up keeping this style, where they go towards the center of the zone. They end up getting caught sometimes in these fights early on, which can later in the match start to lead to a dropout in players quite quickly, where these teams hold out on the edge of the zone, then they dive in on the center with a bit of a lack of information sometimes, and then there will be one team waiting there, and then leads the roller coaster, or the snowball, you could say, of teams coming in and one after another hearing those sounds and trying to find those opportunities. And that's where we've seen some matches end up like that. I'm hoping it will be a bit more controlled as well, and start to see some of those improvements coming into the start of this tournament.
For sure, that would be nice. We want to see something different happening. I think over in the main league, you're seeing a lot of center meta, particularly in PEL. A lot of teams just go full send or early to that center area and then move from there. So you could see that start to happen with the women's league. I'd like to see that meta come through as we see Mad Bulls making a swift exit from Everest here. They looks like they either were trying to contest Everest or being contested, and they decided, you know what, not worth it, which I understand. I get that.
Yeah, and I mean, as well, definitely something it has always worked in the past where it wasn't that center meta. We saw teams still kind of hover around the edge of that zone and try to utilize terrain, utilize high ground to create a position for them, create information for them, where it can later move in more methodically and not be caught out by staying in that later kind of edge portion. That is always a risk, right? And that's, I think, sometimes where you see that then central meta change, also Neptune, where you see these teams start to move closer into the zone earlier on. They want to establish more control early on as well, especially with the fact that the elimination points as well, they gather a lot more weight now with the point scoring overall and the way that the placement and the elimination points are weighted, right?
Indeed. I'm just trying to figure out here, QSY and De Muerte, both looking a little worse for wear, but I think that's because they're out in the zone, because I was thinking we haven't seen any fights yet, but they're not looking too healthy. But no, you see De Muerte as we look at that map feed coming in through that blue zone, not really caring about the blue zone too much, but we do see the rest of these teams all trying to jockey for position here, and it looks like most of them have decided to come in a little bit early. They seem to have a good position. You have a lot of teams in that center area, so it will be interesting to see how this zone moves forward and where it ends up shifting, because I think either way it goes, we're going to be seeing quite a few fights break out.
Yeah, and these fights, as we mentioned earlier on, it only takes one fight to then lead on to the next as well for these teams. And especially around a position here, Everest, you can see there are a few of those teams on the minimap, you can see in the top right, that are positioned not quite on the mountainside as TPS. They're going to throw these down. They're going to look to try to find one knock. It's going to be Mad as well. You can see her on the elimination feed, taking out one for themselves. But for TPS right now, as we did jump for the meanwhile over to Mad Bulls and see what the girls are doing here. Looks only for a knock just now. It seems that it was just passing by these teams, and it was one knock. And they'll get that one elimination through. Leora will grab it, but it will be still quiet. I mean, curious to see what's going on in that Everest side, though. You can see there is a knock here, and TPS are moving in.
Ooh. Going in with nades first. I like it. Good stuff. Oh dear. Have we lost Wolf?
Oh,
Have we lost Silent? No?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yay.
And we got TPS are here. And they're moving in. But it's going to be a first knock, as we can see coming through now. The nades. The second one will hit the edge of Cupquake. Not going to end up taking down Cupquake too far just yet. And Spray comes over the top. Nina going to get caught. And now Berth coming in from the side flank. There's Damler still healing up in the back. And you can see also this third team potentially could be jumping in here. Is SBG. They will be looking here to be struggling. One of them will fall, and unfortunately, it doesn't look good for the French squad so far here.
What is she doing?
down to one. I mean, they could go in. They've got the players.
They don't see her. That is crazy.
Yeah, but they seem to have lost her. She's gotten away for now. And I'm sure they'll spot her eventually. No, they don't. Oh, she was right there.
There
Interesting
is no way. Okay, big brain. Nina, let's go.
She's on a stealth mission, and she's in that vehicle for now. I think they're suspicious that something could be up. They're gonna check it for now, and they will find Nina. Unfortunately, it was a nice try, but SBG, they're gonna be the first team out of the tournament.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny. I mean, I didn't think that was going to work, but GG's Nina. Meanwhile, Celinda going to be trying her best to get those pot shots over onto them. I don't mind that at all. Shockwave trying to get some of those points coming in there from Everest. I mean, if they could get a knock or two, they would be pretty well set up to actually move in on that position, but they do have something trying to come in up in behind them, so we'll have to see how that goes. But the Muerte, for the meantime, is going to be crossing that bridge, going across, was it Georgia Pole Bridge? So they're trying to move out from the north, go down south, but Flex is saying, no, thank you. The vehicle going to go away, and I don't know, why was I about to say GAB? It's Gabby. Gabby trying to put a stop to that. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, look, there is a stop over here on the Muerte on this bridge. Flex just can't quite find those spray down onto the Muerte from the long range, and the Muerte will get away with this one. Unfortunately for Flex, also only running 3 players here. I'm a bit sad because I know that Calypso and Alexa, 2 of these players, we know what they're capable of in the previous tournament. We know that they can have some good performances here as a team and as a duo at least, but not coming as that 4. Maybe just something's going on there. Hopefully they can bring back, as always, that full squad for the future games here in Neptura.
100%. Oh, and this zone is about to pop on up. Ooh, down to the South Georgia Pole area. It goes to Everest as well. So now Shockwave, they were trying to see if they could get an opening. They're going to be trying for sure now, but they may actually have a better time here. I mean, Highland, we have to think about Mad Bulls could make a push onto them, Bonfire as well, Sly as well, but I think in the end it is going to be Shockwave who make that initial push. I thought maybe they would wait for a third-party opportunity, but no, they're going to go for it anyway. QSY also making a run for somewhere. It's not Everest, but they are trying to scout out a portion of ruins for themselves.
Yeah, Quasi as well around that ruins area is going to be pretty tough for those teams centralizing around that area. Not so much of a great spot for those players. We'll want to potentially move further in onto that zone, as we say, ruins on the edge. You can see here as well, down towards the south of Georgia Pole. Slime Machine going to be struggling as well. Is Freeps going to fall down for the meantime. Gristo as well. Sorry, it will be the falls down person. Freeps trying their best here to navigate around here. Yeah. Trying to navigate here around the side of the crates. Can't quite find an angle onto the rest of the Muerte. Is they also reposition? They will finish off Gristo inside of the warehouse for now, and Militia closing in around the back side of the south side of George Pole. Getting caught by a couple of the sprays from these third-party teams as well. Keep in mind, there's a lot of these other teams here, Neptura, not directly within the compound itself, but within the vicinity, and really is going to constrict the play that Demoarty can make here. They directly only able to move centrally into the compound.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to make those flanks if they want to.
No, these warehouses give a lot of protection, a lot of support, but the way they're shaped, the oblongness of them really does not bode well for pushing or for really defending necessarily, or being particularly aggressive with those defenses. You really have to wait for teams to come to you, which can put you in quite the predicament as we're kind of seeing now. Yeah, they're getting shot up just a little bit there. They got to get that team, or that player rather, rezzed back up, but you see there are a couple of teams around them that really have good angles on them.
Yeah, and it's affected to you every time you want to move and get to another warehouse, right? There's no connection as well. So you have to make it out of the warehouse, have that brief moment of vulnerability as teams can then shoot down on you before you make it into the next compound. And that also can split these players up. So it's important the side of Demoarty, they keep themselves together and they make sure they're not going to split too far here on the south side. It is still a fairly open compound, that South George Pole area. So to get split up could cost them later on, once now Slime Machine, they get back together, and then they also control that more central portion in those crates of South Georgia Pole too. You can see Foreign Esports, they're also going to be jumping in to try catch a few of these rotating players. Barbie going to be caught in the zone. is coming closer in. Foreign will look to try close this one out. Is the rest of them rotating in? Unfortunately, it does look like Amelia and Parazita will be caught though on that elimination feed as they also make their way in.
Oh, and that zone, Highland, look at it! It's gone straight to the mountain and its surrounding area. That's not good for 99% of these teams. TPES, they are going to have a really hard time with this. They've now got to defend a whole bunch of teams on that eastern side trying to come in. So we'll see how they can manage that. But if they can hold on to that position, they will have a great end game here. If they hold that down and just spray down that mountainside, they are in for quite a few points this first game. But for now, Foreign looking to make sure nobody leaves this side alive before they then have to move out. So a dangerous game they're playing for sure, but one that could get them a lot of points out.
Yeah, and the fairway as well. We're jumping straight into that compound as well. The moment they were trying to get a hold of that mountain, unfortunately for them, TPS, they do shut them down as quick as they were to try to regress onto TPS. Was a nice idea. It is, though, now this TPS team that are up to 4. There's also a few of those other players in those teams. I mean, one of them definitely going to be the side of AOR silently, just hanging on. You could see across the distance at the edge of the zone were waiting a short bit to see if they could make that rush in or how the zone was going to affect the initial charge of some of these teams or initial movements of some of these teams. The Muerte as well, opting here to stay just on the outskirts of this zone, some little bit of ways. It has moved ever so slightly out of the compound as well, down towards these very southern warehouses. Could constrict their movements later on, these teams, if they run out of smoke to the compound of this warehouse and into that open area. You can see AOR, one of those teams who were waiting, they make that move finally, and then just caught between so many of those teams also making the same rotation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Muerte could also be in that situation shortly, but they have 4 eliminations at least. So they're, even if they go out now, they're not going to leave without a few points here and there. But with 15 teams still alive, you desperately do not want to go out right now. You really want to hold on as long as possible. But for De Muerte, they're getting pretty surrounded right now. They're getting separated, hunted down by 2-3 different teams here. So it could be curtains form. We'll have to see how they handle themselves.
Yeah, and here De Muerte, they're trying to hold on, of course, to his zone. They're going to try and wait as long as they can to keep themselves alive. Hope some of these players, some of these teams will fall to the wayside. TPS also going to grab another one of Bar State on the elimination feed, as I assume they will also be trying to vie for a position on that mountaintop. De Muerte struggling here. Nevertheless, Zena going to be the next one down. Nikki stepping up to try find the flush onto at least one elimination point for him. That will grab him up to 6 now. His D3 will also fall down to the edge here to 14 teams. And for now, De Muerte are alive, but that zone is coming in and it's definitely going to affect him. You can see here TPS, a lot of holding to do on this mountainside.
Look at her go. GG's, Damla. We've seen her do her thing before. She still got it with that DBS. 8 eliminations. Highland, they are holding down the fort. They are being helped by all these teams kind of fighting amongst themselves, right? Trying to get into zone at all. But for TPES, this is exactly what they needed right now. They've got a lot of teams being distracted by everyone else, and they can come up and they can just clear up the pieces later. So looking very good for them. 8 eliminations coming on in here, and De Muerte holding on with 6, just about. They've only lost 1 player, so on the other side of the map, they are holding on pretty strongly.
Yeah, and it's all about just trying to keep themselves alive. They've got elimination points, so they just need to get into a good placement now. That is going to be difficult with their position in that zone moving in. TPS, as the next contender arrives, it is going to be here Flex. Flex trying to move their way up into this man, and will hold just a step below on this mountain top. Is even more will fall now. And that zone closes in. TPS just holding for the meantime. They've got the 8 eliminations and they can wait for players, just as I say, to come to them. I mean, they can fly over them as well if they like. It's going to create the action for TPS. Now as they try to hunt down that vehicle, they're going to have to hold just for a little moment here. Because unfortunately, they are going to fall. They're going to lose themselves here to Slime Machine. And for Flex Esports, they're going to sneak away here, a position. Still 2 of them alive. DPS, 1 of them left as well, as they'll go down to the bottom side of that mountain. And get caught here, unfortunately, by the rest here alongside Demoete. Both TPS and Demoete going to fall simultaneously. Queze kind of lose one as well, but they've got a vehicle here. They can at least get themselves in this little pocket that they've got for themselves just beyond the edge of that zone. Meanwhile, that zone, Neptura, is gone down into the blur. we're zoomed into the mountain.
Literally, oh my goodness, what on earth is that? That is horrific zone. I hate it so much for these teams, but, you know, they gotta make do. Great nades coming in all the way around. Shockwave able to pick up a couple of eliminations here. Gotta say, TPES held on well, but at the end of the day, it was just a little too much. I mean, wouldn't 15 teams be a little bit too much for you as well? I mean, it certainly would be for me, so they did a really good job there. But now it's all down to Shockwave coming in here, down to Flex as well, up at the top of those, of that hill. Bra coming in here as well, so looking still very strong for a lot of these teams. They're gonna struggle. QZ being one of those teams, really feeling the effects of this new zone, of the teams around them as well. Yikes.
Yeah, QZ though, they do have that pocket for themselves, and they've got themselves that little bit of protection as well for the meantime. Shockwave can't be asking as much though. It's Caramelia barely going to keep themselves alive, but not for much longer. As Mad Lions cross from the zone, will snipe them away. And now BRX, the next on the shopping block potentially here for the Mad Bulls, as they're up to 10 eliminations and for themselves in the end of this game. This could be a great position for them. They've just got to keep themselves alive, and they are on the edge of that zone. They're going to have to move in like the rest of them here. Phaeton, they too are going to have to be jumping in here in a moment. Is that zone 50 seconds away from this stage 8 points? And the Mad Bulls trying to optimize their position here for now. They're trying to throw these smokes down, or the nades down into the smoke, should I say, and they're going to find one. They're going to grab a few extra, and that's actually going to be 12, as they will take out Aurora, hiding inside of that smoke, and now they can make their way forward. No more flanked. 1 rock more into the zone in order they set themselves up for potentially what could be a Mad Bulls win here.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look that way. 14 eliminations. They're the more experienced team of the 2 here, as far as I'm aware. Oh, great nade coming in. That's a bouncy, but not far enough for them.
Yeah, just not quite cooked and thrown quick enough. Is facing.
Nice.
They're going to move into these smokes. They're disappearing, bro. And this is going to cost them as that smoke disappears. They're going to get caught in Mad Bulls. They're going to come in with his first winner chicken dinner here in Neptura for themselves. Mad Bull girls on Erangel getting a heck of a lot of points in this game.
I mean, come on. It's them, right? We've seen them do their magic before. They've done it again, and in such a difficult zone as well. They really held their own there. So, well done. Props to you, girlies. Great job for this first game, because that's at least 24 points. I think it's probably closer to a 30-point game than we've seen in quite a while. What a way to start off the season.
Yeah, I mean, 30-point games, they don't come easy here as well, Neptura. I mean, these were the amount of points that we only saw a couple of times throughout the entirety of the mid-season showdown as well. I mean, we saw one at the start also of that tournament, and it took us, I believe, all tournament to get to another level of points like that where you're breaking into those 30 mark, and to see them come off the chopping block with really that amount of aggression, that's what we're looking for in these players, and that's what we're looking for in that kind of show us what you got, if that's what we call it here in this first game.
Yeah. 100%. Absolutely. It's so, so good for them. Really, really good job. They held their own. I think they were 3 women team. I can't remember if they were full squad at the very end there, but they had 14 eliminations. They got 3 from the last team, so that's putting them at 17. Plus 10 from the win has got to be at least 27 points, probably a little bit more than that. So very, very close to 30. They're going to put them way ahead of the rest of the crowd, right? Because as well as these teams all played, because they were so close together so early on, actually a lot of those eliminations got dispersed throughout multiple teams. So no one team got super high there.
Yeah, and this is also the thing as well, where we saw TPS, they got a few eliminations, then they got knocked out. We saw Demuerte, they also got a few eliminations, then they got knocked out of the first match. So though there's these teams that overall have a good season of placement points and also elimination points, they don't have that much compared to maybe Mad Bulls, but they still are ahead, you could say, a few of these teams compared to those who fell out quite early on. There's still, however, 4 more games, of course, going on from this one. I mean, Mad Bulls, they've got that momentum now with that win off of Erangel to start them off now in Miramar coming up soon. But for these other teams, they just got to take that first game with a pinch of salt, if you like. But it's not going to work out for everyone. Someone's got to fall out early. It didn't work out this first angle. Come back now in Miramar and really start showing us what you've got in terms of the desert combat ability.
100%. Dang, Celinda though, 380-meter longest elimination distance. That's the kind of numbers you see on Miramar, and she got that on Erangel. I like that a lot. I almost wonder if she was the one with the M24, because we did see somebody with a sniper over in that kill feed. So very happy that she got such a long elimination, but are we going to see her do it again in Miramar? We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, it was a really, really interesting game. I think a lot of things got filtered through. You see immediately which teams, and to the teams themselves, what do we need to work on, or not so much work on, but what do we need to adapt immediately coming into this next game or coming into day 2. So yeah, I think it was a very eye-opening game for everybody concerned, and we will see how they go into this next Miramar coming up.
Yeah, Miramar is always one of those exciting ones as well, Neptura, because the rotations are something it really shines at always for me in that match. But of course, in this first one, the MVP, Leora, going to be her that grabs that title, 5 eliminations and 778 damage done for herself. And you could tell that Leora was definitely one of those, of course, instrumental players, but it was a team effort as well. That she didn't take so many eliminations. You could see the team, the way they were splitting, the way they wanted to try control that final zone as well, with one utilizing the nades onto those smokes on one end, another still pushing in to get themselves a further position in the zone. So they had this coordinated attack, if you like, coming towards the end, which is what I really like to see coming from this team overall, and to show that they're cohesive enough already coming into this first game, and with a whole tournament to grow. I'm really excited to see what type of synergy we get to see out of them.
100%. Yeah, really good. I agree with that 100%. It was really nice to see how they actually moved forward as a team and regrouped and kind of went, okay, now, go now. And they all went and they got the job done. So really good job from them. You see the player focus here, though. Leora only heading the leaderboard by 1 point so far. You got a lot of people here with 4 eliminations each, so looking very even across the board. But that kind of goes into what I was saying earlier as well, where the teams aren't getting as many points individually because those knocks, those eliminations are all getting spread around the teams because they're so close. So you really see that coming into effect here with these 4 eliminations each. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes throughout the night. I think for now, apart from Mad Bulls, the teams are going to be fairly close to each other at the moment. So it's a nice, fairly even playing field coming into Miramar.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is only one match out of 10 so far. Yeah, it's a little bit of a lead for Mad Bulls so far. I mean, Vadim, Lexlayers, Bonfire, and we also expected BRX TP's esports there to be able to make themselves a position on the standings. Those eliminations we talked about, some of these teams getting. It is going to be fairly tight, still around, of course, the second to the ninth position as we expected. Mad Bulls, I'm curious to see if they can grow that momentum, though. They've got themselves a little bit of a lead so far after that first game. It could be something that we see Mad Bulls, if they keep this consistency up, that they end up starting to run away and really securing themselves maybe an eye for that top 3 position already going into day 2 by the end of tonight.
It's interesting how much of a drop really goes down to that 9th place and beyond. I mean, we went from 11 points in 2nd place all the way down to 4 in 9th place, and it goes further on down the list. SPG, Fairway, AOR, and Watch and Learn all getting 0 points. Dreamers as well there. 0 points for this first game. Certainly not what you want to see, especially when that first zone was so passive for everybody. But you know what? This is where you watch and you learn and you come back stronger for game 2. It's going to be interesting as well, though, Highland. We have to see how this dynamic works because our next Erangel game isn't until the end of the night. If your best map is Erangel, you've got 3 more games until you can go back to your strongest map. So for some of these teams that have 0 points on this Erangel, it's possible they could struggle from now on.
Naturally, is going to be something that is a worry for some of these teams. I'd always say, though, right, that if these teams are struggling to make points still on Miramar and Sanhok, it's definitely something that comes down to the overall ability of these teams, because they've got to still be capable of getting those points on these other maps. And I mean, Miramar is going to be the next one up soon, and after a short break, we will be able to see what these teams can do in Natura on the Desert Dunes themselves.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Break time. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are. We're ready for game number 2. It's going to be Miramar, my favorite favorite map. There we go. Favorite map. Yeah, favorite map. And I want to be seeing that M24 again. We saw it in Erangel. We better be seeing it in Miramar, but that's not the point. We're going into game number 2. We saw a huge gap between Mad Bulls and the rest of the lobby in game number 1, if you missed it. We have a 30 points or 27 points to 11. So big gap coming in there. But maybe Miramar will be kinder to the majority of these teams. We'll see a few more points, maybe even a little bit of a gap coming in.
Yeah, look, I'm hoping for these teams to stop napping if they've got those few points in the first game, and they're going to create that shortening of a gap here. Neptura coming into Miramar. I mean, the M24, we might see it again. We're hoping to see some long-range action. I mean, that's what also Miramar is about, but also it's about positioning as well. And as we said before the break, Neptura, it is going to be about how these teams position coming later into those zones, how they play that mid game as well, because that's what Miramar is all about. That's about the positioning, getting yourself set up for that success later on, because naturally the way Miramar is, it's always realistically going to be some sort of per zone, you could say, more likely than not. It's never really going to be a nice zone with Miramar, so it's all about the terrain. Can these teams control that coming later into the game?
100%. Miramar, more than the other maps, is always a game of high ground, right? So I want to be seeing these teams coming in early to a zone. I want to see them get the high ground where they can, and I want to see them use it 100% as the camera goes out on Mr. Highland Wolf, and he's back. There we go. He's back. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really interesting one. Very different to Erangel, and we'll see which team comes out on top. There's a few teams in the list that tend to like Miramar a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye on them. And everybody in chat, here's your reminder as we get into game number 2. I do see your comments. Everybody sees your comments. So if you are supporting a team, you better be telling us in that chat. I see a lot of Mad Bulls coming in here. TPES, QSay as well. So keep those comments coming in. We will read them out on occasion here. Bonfire as well says Bonfire Organization. Okay, we got the org in the chat. Welcome.
That seems a bit biased.
Welcome, yeah, just a bit. But we do welcome this new playing path coming in, a pretty straightforward one, I have to say. Majority of these teams going over to the western side, but we'll see where that zone comes into play. That's what we're waiting for here. Playing path is perfectly fine. It's chill, but that zone could throw this all into chaos. So we will have to see how this goes.
Oh, don't set me up for the Death Valley already here, Neptura. It's only the first game of Miramar. I mean, there's some spice we've already had in the first one. We don't need the hot spice when it comes to Miramar and that type of stuff. We chill it out now for game 2, right? That's surely what happens now.
Let's see. A lot of teams coming down to the south side, though. Interesting. Got SBG, Mad Bulls, it looks like, as well. And it's not going to work in their favor. Zone goes straight up to the northwest side. You've got El Pozo. You've got San Martin. You've got Chumaceta as well up there. So looking very promising for a lot of teams. Better, or rather more so than Erangel, you have a lot of teams who are actually in the zone rather than outside of it, but it's kind of a 50-50 at this point. There's a lot of teams down to that south side that are nowhere near this zone.
Yeah, I mean, this zone definitely going to be a tough one for quite a lot of those teams. You can see very much positioned down towards the south of Los Leones. It's going to be tricky. TPS, also one of those teams where we saw that aggressive plays coming through from them on those mountaintops. So to see how a few of potentially these aggressive teams now all together on that south side make it through the looting phase and then into that zone as well without being too harmed, it could be a tricky ask for a lot of those squads early on. And towards that northern side, we do also have to keep in mind that those teams were pretty spread out as well. We could see some of those teams move towards that western side of the zone. It was that more easterly side playing path as well, so teams naturally already around that more eastern area. So there is still some spots towards that western point of the zone itself, that northwest area, that is quite barren, it's quite open. There could be some teams, especially from the south, that then decide to early rotate up to that point and hoping that, as usual, there won't be so many teams of players around that area.
Ooh, we actually might get an early fight here, Highland. Oh, yeah, nice. Nina narrowly missing out on a knock right there. But it is going to be Mambles up against SBG right now. They're looking for those eliminations. Gets one, but not the other. So SBG now in a little bit of a world of hurt. SBG, they're not going to be able to do anything about it, but they are going to try and avenge their teammate, trying to get out of the way of a couple of teams here because they all came in super close to each other.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also here, SBG, just 3 of them in the vehicle, rotating in to try to potentially contest that fight, realizing they were too late. They are going to wrap back around, do a U-turn to where they were originally looting here. We also have some more potentially players here, just towards the right of us. SBG, they're not going to get caught, though, on this rotation. The vehicle sounds will be heard, undoubtedly, however. We'll get across this man's side and across the road unscathed. But they are 1 player less. And for SBG, it wasn't a great first game either from them, Natura, as well. They struggled, if you remember, around that Everest side. So to see them now in this game, already a player down, it's going to be also a slow one also to start them off with the looting phase and driving to a new location for themselves as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one for sure. There's still 3 up though, so as long as they can regroup and just relax for a moment, have a bit of time to themselves, I think they'll be able to pick it back up, at least get a few points, right? Because as you said, they're sitting on 0 points coming out of game number 1, so they need a few just to catch up a little bit. The way the lobby stands now, they don't have to do too much catching up. They could get 3-4 points and still be kind of middle of the table, because not every single one of these teams is going to have the same sort of result. It's not going to be as close as we saw in game number 1. So really kind of thinking they have to do kind of minimum effort here to actually get a fair amount of boost up on that leaderboard for game 2. So if they could just use this to kind of regroup, reassess, and take some points where they can, play it a little bit more carefully, I think they could actually do a really good job here.
Yeah, and it's all about here just, as you say, taking that on the chin and continuing as well through this game. It's very early days. They can still surely find themselves a looting spot here to start their game off here on Miramar. I don't expect it to cost them too much. Hopefully they'll be able to, as you say, get those points back. Dreamers, another one of those teams that were struggling a little bit coming in from that first game, potentially first game nerves. Barbie, we know Marley as well, what these players can do. We know they're capable here on Dreamers of getting these points on board. And especially Dreamers, one of those teams that, if I do remember rightly, more prone to getting those points on Miramar as well. Last time I checked in these tournaments, definitely were better performances from them than that compared to Erangel or Sanhok. So could see them look more confident here on the desert.
Well, that would be really nice. Like you said, they need those points on the board. So far, looking in a really good position there, over by water treatment, which I think is kind of just inside a zone. It's not too far in to be super comfortable, but it's certainly a start. They don't have to think about moving just yet. They can kind of figure out and kind of have a little bit of an analysis, see where these teams are going to be going in the next couple of zones, and then work their way in from there. So a good position for them. It's definitely going to probably get them some points. I would hope so. So we'll see how that goes for them. TPES gonna definitely be looking at this team though, Highland. After that last game, they really held on really well to Everest, and so I want to see that again from them. I want to see that same fight. They're looking really good on the leaderboard so far, and hopefully they can keep that up.
And a little bit of a fight here is unfortunately for Blood of Foreign. They're going to be taking down here the AOR Silently team, who are a little bit split. Unfortunately for Foreign, not able to gather too much more than one elimination, though it will be at least 1 point given to them. The rest of those AOR Silently members very split themselves there in a 1-on-1 and 1 split overall. Looking here Foreign to try breach into the compound could be risky. They do get inside, though, and they won't lose Liot, which is crucial here. Barely alive. Will finally, the last bullet go on into Liot, and Aura as well will be sniped down. So all down to the solo player here of Malek. But Malaka down to the solo seems to be an issue. Needs to make that revive happen. Needs to slow this fight down. They only have that one smoke as well. They have those 2 mollies. They need to stop this push, and not sure really if they want to try to slow with the utility or not. They will be a 1-on-1 push. GG's. And it will be, unfortunately, all of Foreign here falling down to just the solo. Repno is still there. But now there's 3 of the AOR Silent members all together, and it isn't looking great. Foreign Esports, they tried to push. I think it was a bit of a ambitious push, you could say there, Neptura. They just weren't quite coordinated enough to take that compound away from AOR.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. It was a good effort nonetheless, but, you know, third parties are always going to come in with those snipers, and it is unfortunate that they were unable to get that going. But now they know for, you know, next Miramar, next game, perhaps. They've got that Sanhok coming up after this game, so we'll see what they have for us in store there. But I am looking at that map feed, Highland. We're looking at, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 different teams still way out in the blue. I mean, what are they doing down on the islands down there? I mean, that's quite far.
Yeah, I mean, Fairway, they're pretty far down. I also watch and learn they actually decided to go down into those South Islands. That was a conscious decision that they made, Neptura. We saw earlier in this game already. So to go down very far, it can get you some of that loot. It was very contested, remember? All of those teams together in the same southern location earlier on. So maybe they feel like they need to go that location. However, you can always just wrap around towards the western southern locations of Miramar. I mean, there were so many places and opportunities around a wider rotation wrapping around to the western side of that zone where it could be quiet for these teams also entering, because that playing path was much more easterly if we look back at the start of this game.
Right. Oh, we didn't see that, Athena. We didn't see that at all. Actually, it was Zeros. No, we didn't see that at all, Zeros. You did not go into that tree. It's fine. But where are they headed? That is the question. They're headed past 1 or 2 teams there as they make their rotation in. Again, the zone has continued to not be too much of a palaver for these teams, so they can kind of enter fairly easily in. So not too bad here. We do see only 1 team has been eliminated so far. We're only in stage 2, so that's going to be normal. But 17 teams still, the players can see that, right? That's got to be so much pressure on these teams to kind of just go, we can't go out now. We can't go out now. We can't go out now. It's what's so difficult about larger lobbies like this, right? 18 teams instead of 16. You can go 20 odd minutes and still have 15 or 14 teams left, which you don't see all that often coming in to those main league environments. So gonna be difficult for these girls to kind of hold their ground and keep on going without going out too early.
Yeah, I love it. The more aggressive the lobbies, the better for me personally. I love the action. I love to see how his teams really adapt to the more aggressive situations that they're going to be in closer to the end of these matches, with, as you say, still probably 10 or 11 teams coming in at least to that phase 5 and to phase 6 points. So it is going to be interesting how these teams overall, of course, adapt to that. I believe the last tournament, don't quote me on it, Neptura, but the last tournament, if I'm right, it was 16 teams per lobby. So now these 18 teams definitely makes it a little bit more bloody when it comes to the action in these matches.
Which is kind of crazy of the organizers, right? When you consider that these teams, even as 16, are mega aggressive, right? These girls are not afraid to fight it out. And so when you see that and kind of go, you know what, make this even more interesting is actually put put 2 more teams in there, and it's just chaos. So I'm all here for it, but that is a wild decision coming in from the organizers to just sprinkle a little more chaos in there, because these girls already bring the heat, bring the action, and the zones as well are going to help with that, right, Highland? I mean, we do have a fairly decent zone here, but it's starting to get really tight.
And if you look at the way that zone is laid out as well, there's that really high ground of that hill just beyond the main road above Picado Hill. It's one of the tallest points of Miramar. In these teams, you can already see some of them on that area who are going to be looking down at these players. It's very difficult, of course, for them to get down if that zone shifts away from them. But for at this point in the game is absolutely information heaven and opportunity heaven if you've got the likes of an M24 and you can just snipe down all of these players below you. Also, Picado Hill, I mentioned it already, is another one of those points down towards the south. Surprised some of these teams maybe aren't leaning in towards that southern side, especially those teams that we said coming in from the south side of Miramar itself, is that is another one of those spots where teams could really look to take control of that high ground and look towards that main road, that main line where these teams are going to be coming in, and that also road separating them later on potentially.
Sly gonna have a hard time coming out, gonna try her best, but she's kind of stuck between a couple of teams here, but they will want to hold their ground. The zone has made its decision. It's going over towards that western side, right? That's the right one. Western side over here. We're going to Crater Fields, baby. We're going over to Power Grid, not really north of Power Grid. So there's no real large compounds here to take control of. Shockwave, Sly already has it. Already has the one good compound in the area, and Slime Machine's going to try and take it potentially here. We will see how that goes for them. Lisa going back in there. Slime Machine, though, Lena 6, this is an experienced player. She's knowing what she's doing. But how is it going to work out? Highland, I don't know.
Kimetsu, they're playing a dance here, though, to try grab this first elimination, and Kimetsu's going to be able to take down Oreo, unfortunately for them. It will be also Lenuzix dropping down. That is that third party, right? Bonfire jumping in even for a little piece of that action. And Sly 1 for 1 in the meanwhile. You can see even more of those teams around the high ground of them. Phaeton, Lex even going to look around the high ground themselves. Will catch out Mad Bulls and Maya. They're going to lose one as well, as Lex really utilizing that high ground that we were mentioning. They really got to utilize it though now as these teams make those moves into the zone, because Lex is going to have to also come down later on, remember, from that high ground area, and potentially where, as we say, we see these players who are already then settled into the zone try to punish Lex. So it's about clearing the ground, clearing the space for them to then allow them to continue in this game later on.
Mad Bulls, interesting. After that one game of mega points, they are down to just 2. So not the game has not been so kind to them as in the last one. They've had to work extra hard this time around, and they got to be a little bit more careful, little bit more guarded with how they use those 2 players as well. So we'll see how that goes for them. Another fight breaking out, though. We're really starting to get into it, Highlands. It is going to be Fairway. She's trying to get something going on here. Yagi does get the job done, though. GG's. They have a compound for themselves, but Highland is just on the edge of zone here.
Yeah, and for Watch and Learn, they were also able to try to look as best as they could for that loot, but yeah, you get all that loot. They don't have the information later on. And Fairway, who were just ahead of them, as we mentioned, in terms of getting to that zone quicker. They had information. They knew that Watch and Learn were coming. So for them, just too much time spent, I think, for Watch and Learn looting in this match, and Fairway was bit quicker into that southern part of the zone. Phaeton, you can see as well a position here for him. Ever so tricky to navigate down this mountain. It's going to take them that time. You can see the shots coming against them. They're trying to find a way down this mountain, but it isn't going to be within the view of another squad coming in. And the difficulty is, as we move to that phase 4, phase 5 points, the zones start to get smaller, and as you said, so many teams already still left in now phase 4 coming up in just a few seconds means that there's a lot of those extra third positions from those teams who are going to be looking on them as they make their way down the hill. TPS doing the same here, trying to make that later rotation in. And you can see Lexa being caught there by some of the rest of those players. You can see already with a position inside of that zone.
That zone is nasty. That is bad. No one wants that compound down in the valley, right? It's right underneath this massive bit of high ground. I do appreciate that TPS are trying to get that same sort of coverage as they had in Erangel, but I don't know if it's going to work out in their favor here as De Muerte comes crashing on in on Barce.
And Zeros, they weren't going to have only some of it. They will trade for one. De Muerte and Mortesha finds a return. Zeros trying their best. Barca here, Athena trying also to keep a position on this edge of zone as De Muerte sends another Maki. Stepping in, will heal back up as much as they can. That will be banned back to 75%, and Athena's equally realizing that they need to push now if they want to try to punish this De Muerte team, this trio. Don't let them get back together. But the opportunity is gone now. And Neptura, you can see the nades. They're going to bring Athena down low as well.
Yep.
Won't find the finish for now. They're hooking up another one. And that one, they're going to throw it through. Athena, a second one will do it. And unfortunately there, De Muerte just getting the better of Barce. They'll finish down in 16th position. You can see Bonfire as well, opting for his high ground, but this is the difference, right? They've got the zone. It's going to be SBG on that low ground to, yes, maybe have that advantage a little bit. If Bonfire were getting third party, there were other teams around the vicinity. This time, though, Bonfire is just them in SBG, and they are the ones looking down on SBG to get into that zone. Flex their own little dip towards the edge of this play area. They're going to have to also get further in as well.
I absolutely hate that position for SVG. I know they don't like it either. It's going to be so hard, but it seems like they're able to move around a little bit there. They've switched up their position, but for how long, I don't know. Bonfire, I mean, I like what they've done with this, actually. SBG, not going straight ahead. They've tried to weasel their way into zone by going through a side route, but there's a third party coming up right behind them. I don't know how well that's going to work out in their favor as Slime Machine now feeling a little bit of that pressure. You got LGS coming in here. You have Flex as well. Everybody's coming in all at once. And as the zone gets smaller and smaller, there's not a whole lot of room for these teams.
Yeah, I mean, Langers have already fell out. I mean, SBG, they're down to 2 players. They try their best to dispatch of those fairway members who also completely skirted past that compound and into the next very quickly. Mad Bulls, they too struggling here off of that first dominant game. They will fall out in that 14th position. A different shake-up of the points so far in this second game. A Slime Machine trying themselves here to control, again, Shockwave, this compound where they took down another of those Shockwave members. Lisa, though, very competent player. She can definitely be able to, one here to hold her own. Also, Lisa, very competent on the long range as well. So to see her with a slight position here away from Slime Machine, she could take advantage of this and also at the same time look for those players in the mountain to still come down.
I think Bra have an excellent position here, actually. They're up on that high ground inside zone. Oh, no, actually, they're outside of zone. Oh, interesting. Okay, I was thinking it was the other way around. But they still have an excellent position because, yes, they're outside of zone. Yes, they've only got 30 seconds. But that high ground onto completely open angles onto this compound is going to give them such an opening into the zone here. If they play this right, if they play this quickly, I think they could really do some good work here. SBG do go down in the end, but it was just really an uphill battle there, so no real surprise. They did their best, but it's not going to be enough here. I don't know if they went out with any points at all. I'm not sure here, but the zone continues to be just the thorn in all these teams' side. I mean, look, it goes to the north, but more than that, it goes to no compound. It's a road with a couple of hills that are all very, very open. So I think these 12 teams are going to dwindle down very, very quickly.
And also, of course, keep in mind this road as well, Neptura. That's also going to be something, as we said, separates these teams and separates them as these nades. Batum, they tried their best to stop that push in, but they will be the ones to fall. Flex as well, diving in onto this zone. AOR, they are going to be the ones to drop next, and there's Flex. We said they were trying to get into this zone here. You can see how difficult it is. They had to come out of this compound. They had to come into the open. But you can see it is so chaotic. Fairway trying to do the same on this more westerly side. But they too are struggling against the side of Quesse, who they have this high ground and they have these nades. They have the utility. They're throwing down the mollies down and they're burning up here. Fairway, Fena down to halfway of the HP bar. In case they don't want to stop here, they've got Fairway pinned. They got Fena down into the corner. And there come the more nades. Another one through. A second one goes wide. And for now, Fena keeps herself alive. They're chucking a fourth nade through. They're trying to find this last player. But for now, this little bit of a hill, this little tiny ridge. You can see the way Fena's looking right now is what's protecting her from Bonfire and the rest of these players.
Indeed. Good job from her. Really nicely positioned as well so that she's away from those nades just enough to waste their utility and save herself a little bit there. But she is going to have to be careful of Brawl. They've got a fairly open angle onto her as Dreamers. Perfect position. Oh my goodness. As long as the zone stays here, they are looking so good for this win.
And I mean, Dreamers, they do have to be careful, of course, of these teams. There's still a few of them who could come in. I mean, yeah, this is a brilliant high ground position for them. They got this space on the zone. You can see, though, two teams and that make that three coming in on that pincer, though, left and right side. So Dreamers, they need to be decisive here. They need to look as they are going to go towards Quase. Bonfire, though, going to help out with this position too. Flex going to fall down in this 8th spot as they try to make that push. It's going to be their Shockwave in 7th. Bonfire trying their best to pick up these eliminations. Fairway dropping as well, but as Bonfire fall to a solo member, Dreamers, the work might have been done for them. Bonfire did so much on those eliminations. Dreamers were able to handle one side, and Sly, they didn't move up themselves, so they're opting to just to try to stay alive as long as they can, hoping that now Dreamers, with this zone moving slightly down, maybe they'll come out from that hiding spot of those trees from the shade into the light where Sly Machine can then look and have an angle on them.
The zone, though, it's moved away from Dreamers, right? So even though they have that initial position, you've also got Sly moving in ahead of them into zone. So now Dreamers have a little bit of an issue to contend with here. You got QSY as well, down to just a solo. She's just gonna sit this one out, I think. I think she's gonna try and outlive these teams as much as possible. Beautiful nade, that's got to do something. It doesn't quite, though, but the molly to finish it, follow it up rather, disperses them. Nice job there. Gets that teammate, gets that player isolated, but she's not able to hit the shots. Unfortunately, that was going to be a great play, but Freep's unable to do a whole lot there as Bianca does go out. So top 3, here we go, Highland. It's all going down.
And yeah, Slide Machine, they're barging in with the nades, they're barging in with the Molotovs, and it's going to be Dreamers who fall down. Lichess going to be really the last one here to fall alongside now in the final 2. Marley, the only one left to try the best, but it's all a uphill battle. Quite literally, it's Lunatics jumping down, maybe a bit too hasty. It's Marley trying their best, but it's not going to be enough. There are too many options, too many flanks, as it is going to be Slime Machine taking that chicken dinner win. And keep in mind, Bonfire, I believe, they were in that 3rd position too. So good work from them to get themselves those final eliminations. That also placement points on top of it too. These 3 teams in that final battle, all going to be eating good when it comes to their own portion of the points.
Yeah, excellent. Really, really good stuff. I love how Sly kind of weaseled their way in there, right? In between the rest of the teams and Dreamers up at the top there. They just got in, snuck into zone, and actually pushed Dreamers out as well. So looking really, really good there. I appreciate what they did, and it really worked for them, right? They got that win. They got a lot of eliminations. Again, a really, really tough zone coming in there for them before these the last couple of phases, it was a really, really hard circle to work with. So these teams definitely not having an easy time. Probably for the majority of these teams, we're not seeing their full potential just because they keep having to adapt to a really difficult zone, and that's affecting their playing a little bit. But honestly, doing a really, really good job overall. I'm excited to see where these points land them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely with also Mad Bulls, they fell quite early. There were some other teams that really didn't make it into those final runnings. I mean, where did TPS go right earlier in that match too? So it will even out overall. The standings, is we'll get to look at them later. It is Slime Machine, though, of course, who did get that chicken in the win. And for them, when we talked about evening those points, they were able to grab a couple points, I believe, in that first match, and this is really going to help them. I mean, 25 as well is a huge amount with those 15 eliminations. Really now, with Mad Bull's failure to get as many points in the second game, going to put Sly and Mad Bulls in this head-to-head moving into our next few maps or so.
Yeah, really good stuff. I mean, 25 points, as you said. That's 2 behind what we saw in the last game from Mad Bulls. So that's definitely going to be putting them up there. 273, longest elimination distance. Is going to be a player from De Muerte coming in there. Really good stuff as well. I like to see it. We're looking at the same sort of stats coming in here as with game number 1, but it is going to be interesting to see how these stats do end up changing as we go into our only Sanhok of the day. That's the map coming up. So, what we kind of touched on in the beginning of the show is how are these teams going to adapt from the biggest map to the smallest one? I mean, these teams generally don't mess about when it comes to getting really aggressive. We don't see those 20-minute wait times to see anybody actually get into some fights. But even though that is the case, I think we still Miramar is still a much slower map, even if you have really aggressive teams. So for them to have to adapt to a really, really intense map straight after that, it's going to be a very interesting thing for me, at least. Sanhok being one of my favorite games competitively, so I'm interested to see how this goes.
I mean, Sanhok was always going to be a chaotic one for these teams, and it always has been that shift in momentum we saw in the mid-season showdown last winter, how that really shaped up and changed the way that these players are able to perform, how things looked on the leaderboard day to day. And it's Grisso here, MVP as well. 6 eliminations. We're going to have to see if they can keep that momentum up here at Slime Machine overall going into such a crazy map, because Mad Bulls, they weren't able to follow up on that momentum at the last one. So momentum is something that isn't everything, and it's not something that's able to happen every time. And it's now down to them and also Mad Bulls, right, to see who can really vie for that top position now going into Sanhok alongside, of course, those teams who are in the middle of the pack. How will they fare as well with such a close, I think, leaderboard so far still within these 2 games?
Yeah. Interesting that Gristo only has 485 damage for more eliminations than I think that says Nikki with 717 and only 4 eliminations. So interesting distribution of points versus damage we're seeing here as well. I think Gristo's either helping her teammates a lot here and getting that final shot, or she's doing a little bit of elimination stealing, which no one's going to be very happy about that, but hey, it's perfectly legal. Get those points wherever you can. It is just interesting to see how that ends up shaping up as we go over to those leaderboards. Let's go. The match standing. This is not the overalls, but this is the match standing. 25. Again, this is the same sort of thing we saw in game number 1. 25 to 11. That's a massive drop.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be a big drop overall. Dreamers, though, because we looked at them and what they were able to do in terms of getting those points as well, and I think that's going to be able to balance them out over this leaderboards between these first 2 games. Bonfire, we mentioned that they were able to get those extra few points. De Muerte as well were able to do a little bit of the same towards the end of that second game. So B2 will be around that central position of the leaderboard. And these teams who are performing consistently so far, who are getting those points so far throughout the first two games, like Demoretti, will be looking to really one of the stronger teams overall on the leaderboards after two games.
Especially looking at Mad Bulls, right? Only 2 points to follow up their winner chicken dinner. So it is looking like for the Mad Bulls, they're going to have to work a little bit harder than they maybe originally thought coming in after game number 1. Because, yeah, you do have teams that have similar points now. You've got a lot of teams getting a lot more points than we saw in game 1. And with Mad Bulls only getting 2 more, definitely having already lost that number 1 spot, I would have thought. So they are, if they're aiming for that top 3, they are going to want to put some more effort into the next couple of games to make sure they maintain that top 3.
Yeah, and this is all about a consistency, of course, because as you say, it's top 3 only in the end of Group A and Group B over the next 4 nights, and only 2 nights each for these groups to compete to get to that top 3 position on the overall standings. And you can see it is still fairly close overall between Mad Bull, Sly, and Bonfire, as we expected here in Neptura. So to see if Sanhok will break apart any of these teams from the top of the standings and give anyone a lead, that's what I'm curious about, and also see how these teams really fare when it all goes action and all of these teams are together at the end of those zones. Because Sanhok, it can be pretty rough when you start to see teams centralize around the zone. As you say, really, you look at those 4 to 5 way team fights.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Mad Bull still is top of the leaderboard. That's cool. Epic, good for them, but they are only 2 points ahead, right? So definitely some big gaps overall on those leaderboards, but you are seeing also how close it all is. This next Sanhok definitely going to be the decider of the evening, I think. We're definitely going to be seeing who is really ready for the second half of this evening. And don't forget as well, right, we've got Group B coming in tomorrow, so these teams have to wait 48 hours-ish to actually start to play again. So you do have that change in momentum as well, right? It's not the next day immediately. It is a little bit of a wait for them. So we'll see how that affects them, as well as we see how this break affects us and everybody in chat, as we're going to head over for a few minutes to some highlights, and we'll be back with Sanhok in just a few minutes.
Looking at me like you're scared, baby, come on
Welcome everyone back to the it's PMEWL here, season 3. I was going to say mid-season shutdown. We're coming off of the mid-season shutdown last year and seeing what these ladies can do. My name is Harlan Wolf, and we are going to be joined by Natura. She's getting herself back into Sanhok as well. And as we jump down in onto the action, oh boys, it's going to be an epic one here for our first Sanhok game of the tournament. I'm waiting for it. I'm excited. As all of these teams with the flash action shots, cut one to the next very quickly. I mean, that shows the sign of action ready here to come. And all of these teams going to be fairly spread out so far on Sanhok for now. A good spread of these players. Going to see what these players are going to look to rotate to. Currently, all just going to be looting up in their own locations. I'm surprised, though. Out of all of the options that we saw, only now we're going to start to see some real contention in these teams. I mean, yeah, okay, sure. We look towards the top side. There is TP. Yeah, it's coming out of a really on-fire slime machine who were absolutely grinding those eliminations in the last match. 25 points they got in that second match. Coming now on Sanhok here. TPS got to show us what they can do. We're not able to grab a single point in that last game. Very unfortunate indeed. But for the rest here, BRX Esports, we're going to look at how they slowly position here, because there is BRX there on one side, but Lex, they're also coming into the compound too. You can see even there, Barce, somewhat in the distance, but still within the vicinity of what potentially could be a little bit of an outbreak here. Is BRX split, and Isa going to be the first one to go down there. You can see already losing one. I'm curious to see if that was Lex there. It does look like it is Lex. Some damage on their health bars as they're going to go from one building to the next and sweep this compound away. BRX very split here. Still not opting to go together and can't really now. You can see how awful it really is going to be for Aurora. I mean, the Nadel's going to be cooked. So they're going to try and move once more. Aurora stepping back from a nade as she will be flushed out here. The rest here also of BRX trying to find a position. I like that Aurora stepping here back for now. Maybe it looks for a longer wraparound towards the rest of her teammates. Of course, if you are cheering as well for BRX, or also Lex, or any of these other teams as well, they're all still in the game, and you can still root for them in this third match. Let us know who are your favorites in the chat. Get some of these hype going for these players in these teams. For what is going to be our most volatile map, I'm hoping for. And I do believe we're also, speaking of volatility, we're going to be looking, hopefully, yes, Lex having a fight coming in, but Neptura also coming in onto the broadcast as well. Hello, Neptura.
I decided to finally
you've
join
also
you.
crash landed. Yeah, you've crash landed on this island. It's jungly. It's got palm trees. It's got lots of action. I promise. There's lots of fighting going on in this one. I'm ready for it. And BRX, they're already off to a good start.
Oh my god. Oh, she should have had that. Just doesn't get the shots just in time, but her teammate is here for the rescue. Like my normal Wi-Fi is in for the rescue because the data decided to die. So it'll be back soon. I just have to wait for it. So I'm on my real Wi-Fi right now. So that's fun. But it's going well so far. It's all good. BRX, though, in a bit of trouble. One down, one dead. And unfortunate situation as reinforcements are coming in. Oh, nice little spray coming in as well. Now it's just Aurora left on her own. And it kind of looks like she's really nowhere near her teammates there, over the hill and far away. So at least she's safe, but that means no hope of rescue from for her teammates there. For her last teammate left alive is going to go on down. But it is the way of Sanhok, isn't it?
It is, unfortunately, you missed it a little bit there, Natura, but BRX here were very split at the start of this game, and it was just a Lex squad that pushed in one building to the next. BRX just not coming together as a team quick enough. Yeah, they got caught on the early on rotation, and Venom Lex is rewarded for it, but nevertheless, that's going to be a third elimination now. Aurora is on the distance, surely can see here Phaeton, not going here, Darsa, to stay too long in one position there. Doesn't want to get popped off by that single player still remaining for Lex. They are silently. They too. Another one of these teams, right? Who I thought with Lisa. I thought also with Chelavaya, with Rozova. I mean, there's some pretty decent names. I mean, Lisa definitely one of the highlight names, of course, here as well, Neptura. But they've not had AR silently here. The best start, we could say, for the tournament out of these first two games.
Yeah, they've struggled a little bit so far, but you know, that's where Sanhok really shines for teams that haven't done well in the last two. It's a real big upside down sort of map where these teams who are struggling a little bit can get that win, can get those points and feel a lot better about the next two games. So we'll see how they go. Hopefully for them, this is going to be a better game, and there's still a lot to play for, right? We're only in the third game of 10 for Group A for week 1. So looking still like there's a lot to play for here. Watch and Learn have a really good spot over to the north side of these cliffs of this island. A 2-2 split, fairly standard for this location, but is still very, very strong. You got TPES down in the valley, down in the town, and they could have a really, really good angle onto them should the zone continue to go down to that south side.
Yeah, I'm also just glad to actually watch and learn how we're in the zone this time. They've gone the right direction this game, Neptura. They are within the safety of that first zone at least. Unfortunately for Bonfire Female though, Dreamer's gonna catch one. Is Amula gonna be caught there? Will be able to potentially get back to her team with the smoke sphere. Will catch one, unfortunately, and you can see that Babu and Marley there gonna pick up at least that one for themselves.
It's a good spot they have, actually. Dreamers.
Yeah.
It's a strong compound. It's got an open area around them, so teams can't really sneak up on them if they're, you know, vigilant about where their surroundings are. And as far as Bonfire is concerned, it is a little bit difficult to get out of this. It's so open in that area around them that it is going to be a bit of a struggle to do anything but kind of just sit there. So Dreamers have Bonfire where they want them, but we're also having in that elimination feed a whole bunch of carnage going down. It is Lex and De Muerte, but it looks like that fight's just finished up.
Yeah, Lex, they had themselves a good position in that first fight. It looks like they're running away in this one. Is they are trying to chase here, face some Lex on into the next couple of players. Yes, it will be 200 meters away from the zone. I mean, Phantom Legs are down to 2 players. It looks like they took a rough fight. They didn't actually get any more eliminations as well. There's Dumarati coming in for the chase here. They're the ones on the vehicle as well. So Phantom potentially just going to hold here for now. Try to also stand still. Avoid making those sound cues as audio cues. Is Demorati will try to search for those final 2 players remaining. But the zone has also moved in towards the main island of Sanhok here as well. And yeah, Ship Paradise Resort is going to be a interesting position. Kasei also holding that compound for now. They're also just above them. You're looking also towards the south side. I mean, boot camp's still also available there, and Mad Bull's controlling that area. So there is still a few major compounds in play within this second stage. However, at least it does allow his teams, for the most part, to understand that the zone is going to be going towards the main portion of Sanhok. I say for the most part because there's still, of course, that little sliver of that Northwest Island still in play up towards the north.
Yeah. Yeah, it is unfortunate that TPES have gone that northern side. I mean, it's great for them, but for that team that was trying to kind of gatekeep them a little bit, they were really hoping for a south shift, and it's really just gone to the east. So now they've been put into a position of, oh, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here quickly. But those teams on the mainland, they have already got those key positions to be looking over on that riverside. So it is going to be a difficult one for them to now have to navigate. So we'll see how they can do that, because we've seen some of the best go down there very, very quickly. So it's going to be a difficult one for sure for them. But Flex, over in boot camp, Shockwave, looking at boot camp, which one is really going to win out here? I think Shockwave, for the moment, quite happy to stay put in that little compound on that hillside there as well. So not too much of a push coming in here, not too much aggression, I think, but Diva is very much within her right to actually have a little bit of a look at them, because you don't want to underestimate, a team like Shockwave, right? They're experienced, they know what they're doing, they've got those strats down, and if they decide to push you, then they are going to push you. They're not going to hesitate with that. So definitely a team to watch and keep an eye on. But it looks like they're moving quite nicely away from boot camp slightly. They're just going to go across that kind of swamp area, and we'll see how that goes for them.
Yeah, I mean, also, I really respect not pushing with the spray a little bit on the peak. I mean, it's very easy, as you could see, maybe some players, they go, oh, well, I'll just try have a little bit of a spray down on these players who are moving around in the compound outside. I feel safe in boot camp. But if they realize, of course, that you're just one person spraying, as you say, this is a very aggressive team and a very experienced team, they could look to rush you. And as you can see, Shockwave doing just that, is they are looking to rush alternatively now their own little bit of a fight or a new compound as they reposition here, just further north of us slightly of boot camp and up closer towards those teams more in the center.
Goodness. Just watching, and it looks like that team over in Hantin, they've been able to move on down. Watch and learn, moving down to the south side. A good play from them. I appreciate that. Mad Bulls, though, not having the easy entry into zone they originally thought, but Purple goes down to a really nicely placed nade. Nicely done indeed. That second one a little bit too short, but it does the damage anyway. Nicely done. Melzy trying to reciprocate, and that's a really good nade as well, but not quite as good as Nature's.
And unfortunately, there, Kasei going to lose one as V Nature also coming in from the side, back flank, helping him now. Melzy on their own here in Paradise Resort on the entrance, and it's not a very comfortable welcome greeting here for Mad Bulls. They are wanting those points and looking for that Paradise Quadra, and it's going to be two so far. They're hunting for these final ones. Sleddy running on her own terms away from the resort. Also opposite end there for the teammate. And for Kasei, just not really able to control that entrance so well. I mean, there were two, a little bit too far back, you could argue, when it came to the overall positions, and Kasei just not overall lined up enough to cover each other. And the moment that front line fell, Mad Bulls were able to push in, and unfortunately, even split here is the final two. Letty now on her own.
Yeah. Yeah, that is unfortunate. I think you're dead on there. It just was not strong enough of a defense for them. And when you have a team like Mad Bulls, who, again, another very experienced roster as a whole, they are going to take advantage of that fairly quickly. So unfortunate, but you know what? It is what it is. They still got that solo, and I was going to say, oh, we've lost some teams. Well, we actually haven't. We haven't lost a single team as Dreamers and Sly go head-to-head here, but there's so many teams. De Muerte is here. Mad Bulls have decided to show up. You got Bonfire. You've got everybody. They're all here. 4 different teams, all fighting outside the zone. They got 500 meters to go. Bonfire Female does be the first one out of the game. And you got just Dreamers and just De Muerte. But there's a whole lot more teams looking at them right now, as looks like they're going to try and separate it just a little bit here.
Yeah, I mean, Bonfire, they got caught there in the middle of so many of those different teams all coming in for the same direction. Dreamers, so, and Sly, a rematch from the last Miramar. Opposite ends of this village for now, and it will be Sly to lose one for the initial turn, as that will be a first knock going towards Dreamers. All the while, it's going to be Kasei, Lessie, will be the final one lost, as AOR silently will clean up that final player. Shockwave also looking here over towards the side of Langer's Blish, should I say, is Dreamers pushing into Sly.
Oh, what a regroup from Dreamers. Oh my goodness. It looked like they were going to try and just get out of there completely, but they've turned this on their head. Sly, unable to come back strongly here. And now, Dreamers now have the upper hand there. Sly go on down. They're in 16th position for this game, but watch and learn, having their own fight over here, doing the best they can, but it's not going to be enough. Oslam does go on out there. 15th place, 0 eliminations. That's no points for Sanhok.
Yeah, unfortunately, Watch and Learn really struggling here in tonight's games. O'Daddy as well, going to fall down. You can see they're also making some work here against the Mad Bulls. And Foreign, they too were in this center portion of Sanhok. They were settled just to the north of their Shockwave as well. So as Mad Bulls were coming into the zone, they seem to have caught a fair amount of attention of their way. Foreign, not that kind of attention that they wanted. Already down to 2 players. The nature trying to separate and draw some of the attention away from one location. Anuki sends the Molly over to try to hold the positions. Looks like a grenade will be in return. De Muerte, meanwhile, though, picking up at least 2 eliminations for themselves. Looking for the revive potentially for them. And there we actually eliminated there. It looks like Foreign were that third party, as we mentioned, looking on to Mad Bulls. De Muerte going to also fall to SBGs. They'll pick up some of their own points to start off their night strong now. And all the way down just to 11 teams we go.
Goodness, that was quick. That was so quick. Oh my goodness me. But it is nice to see SBG finally getting some decent points coming in here. Shockwave as well. Still on 0 eliminations so far, down to 2. It's not looking super good for them, but at least they are in zone, which is more than we can say for the teams going up against them right now. Both of them need to get into zone. It's kind of a 3-way fight here. You do have that team up on that hillside, LGS. They're looking to third party, but they also have their own priorities, so it's a bit messy on that side of bootcamp.
And TPS Cupquake stepping in. Bootcampy's northern warehouses, they're in the play. And Dreamers, they are not. They are going to be next ones out, as AOR silently also up to 3 eliminations, down to 2 players caught in the grass versus Foreign. It's finding all fronts left and right here. But for AOR silently, they're going to be cooking those nades. They're going to find here alongside Shockwave, Barcy, the elimination feed, Mad Bulls even catching out Foreign, and it's all a bit of a party here. It's going to be the elimination feed that we've really got to look at to keep an eye out for all of these teams dropping here. And Natura, even more as this zone closing in another 35 seconds, has abandoned everyone. AOR silently caught even more.
Whoa.
Amongst another, is it was the SPG stepping up and taking him out.
GG's, well done, but not for long. Hey, at least you know what? It's 5 eliminations on the board. It's a top 10 finish. It's not half bad. So GG's SBG, valiant effort from them. But yeah, that zone is just atrocious again. These teams not being allowed any sort of nice zones so they can do their thing, but these teams got some points on the flip side of it. Mad Bulls, 11 eliminations again. They're back in business after that Miramar, which was a little bit worse for wear, but down goes Barce as well now. Oreo doing damage. Now we go over to the west side of the zone. We've got a lot of buildings to work with here, but also a lot of teams. Right now it's TPES versus Flex versus Mad Bulls in the background.
And for TPS, they've got this compound. They had the warehouses in control. They're trying to move further in onto Shockwave, and they're trying to make their own push. And you can see it's all a bit difficult as that zone is closing in at the same time behind them. And it's phase 6 zone. You get caught in that, and you can see how deadly it can be. TPS just caught on the edge of it themselves too. Mad Bull stepping in on the other end. And it's down here to Flex in Mad Bulls. Flex have more players alive. V-Nature down makes it a solo cause for Amaya. Trying their best with the nades. Also a bit of help here from Langer's Bliss on the backside will at least help the last player of Mad Bull survive as long as they can. However, for Flex, it's their control and it's their portion of the zone. It's their cover at the end of the day. At least V-Nature now gets over a little bit of respite. That was sneakily done here. Gets them up to 2. This could be a difference maker. And with Langers keeping an occupied Flex Esports around them, it's maybe enough time, yes, for the revive to come out, but is it enough to keep them alive? No, it will be not. It's Flex Esports trying their best to run around and catch out of Mad Bulls. They will be able to do so, but they lose 2. They lose 2 here in the final 3. And it's Langer's Bliss. They get caught by Shockwave here. Lisa the solo.
It could be just the thing they were looking for. Those nades are good, but the UMP is better. She goes on out, but Langer's Bliss, absolutely a heart stopper of a situation there. And again, that's given Flex time to push forward without really having any opposition right now. There's Gabby, or GAB, as I called her earlier. She's back in business, and she's got those nades. She's got those smokes. She's going to try and cross the road. I do hope that's a bait. Okay, they got on both sides there. Nice Molotov, though. That's got to do some sort of damage. There you go. You do see one, so that is going to be super, super low. Now is the time to push, and across the road they go. It is a 3v1 at this point right now. Down goes one very, very easily. Look at the hip fire going through, but Flex do not go out. They are in business. GG's. What a great game from them.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of Flex, it was Mad Bulls. They did what they could. They took down 2, but Lisa, she was the real stopper in what could have been a Langer's Bliss victory there. I mean, if Langer's Bliss could have got out of that hill, a little bit of a dip there, they could have got up the hill and fought there a damaged Flex after the fight with Mad Bulls. That could have been their opportunity to take the win. But yeah, as we say, Shockwave really put a dent into their winning chances. And Flex, well done. Deserved for them to keep in control of those northern warehouses towards boot camp. I mean, they did a good job towards the end of that game to avoid all of those other teams. TPS as well coming in towards the end of those fights. So the control kept and the reward justly given to Flex by the end of the match.
Yeah. Really, really good stuff. It's really nice to see as well, because Flex not really been a team on our radar so far this evening, right? So, we've seen some good stuff from them, but they have not won a game yet until just now, and they haven't really been in our top 3 in terms of points, to the best of my knowledge. So it is nice, you see a team that gets a big old boost of points. I think they went out with, or won with, quite a few points there. So looking very good for them and their chances on the leaderboard, especially when you think about we're heading into the last 2 games of the Night Highland.
Yeah, it's only going to be Miramar once more and then a final Erangel to finish us off. So by the end of tonight, we're going to have 5 games done. We're going to be halfway through the standings, and opportunity, of course, for these teams to get those points. Flex getting those points, and Sanhok as well. As we said, Sanhok is also, as we expected here, Neptura, a bit of an upset one in terms of the standings, where these teams lower on the leaderboards are getting those points. And Langer's Bliss as well, keep in mind, that second position for them will be really helpful with those placement points to getting them into that middle portion of the leaderboard.
Indeed. As we look towards our match summary, fairly similar stats to what we saw in the previous 2 games there. A really good job from a lot of teams. Most notably, I think SBG there. You know, we saw a big difference from them coming in to this game. Certainly just in points, right? Because they have struggled the last couple of games to get any sort of points, really. So they are they have been struggling, but they are back, right? You got top 10, you got 5 eliminations on the board. It's looking pretty darn good for them coming into the next 2 games. They just have to keep that momentum going. Hopefully something has clicked for them and they're able to get more and more points as we have to ring the bell of 1,000 damage for Amaya. Ding, ding, ding. There you go. 1,031 damage points for only 5 eliminations, which is kind of crazy. So 6 knocks, 2 assists rather, and a whole lot of damage besides. So doing some good stuff there for Mad Bulls. GG's, and that is going to be putting her at the top of the player focus. Our only player so far to get 1,000 damage.
Yeah, and I mean, 1,000 damage is going to be a ring of the bell, as you said here, Neptura, and really going to be Amaya doing a lot of work for her team, Mad Bulls, towards the end there. B-Nature as well, you have to also keep in mind, was doing so much right up to that final moment. It was Flexo, alongside, of course, Calypso in that 4th position, and Alexa in that 5th position there of the player focus, who were, though, the overall defenders of that final spot, as we said. I think also the side of Silas, should I say, here, is in that 3rd position. For Barce, they've not really had so much of a limelight in tonight, but still they seem to be doing the damage, and they seem to be, overall, as we can even see here in the match standings, doing a decent job when it comes to picking up points here and there. And they may not be in focus, but they're still staying relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes that's the most dangerous team, right? The one that no one really thinks all that much of just because, as you said, they're not in the limelight, right? They're not the ones winning the games or coming in 2nd place. But they're picking up the points. They're going point by point by point every single game, and they're being quietly consistent, which is so dangerous to the rest of the lobby because they're so easy to be overlooked, and that's what gets them the win in the end of the tournament overall, et cetera, et cetera. So one to definitely watch, Barce. So I'm sorry I just blew your cover, or we just blew your cover because now everybody's looking at you. But a good job nonetheless. 8 points. But Flex with 18, I have to give it to the Mad Bulls though. I know they went out fairly maybe earlier than we might have expected them to, but in terms of points, they were 2nd place. 16 points, 12 eliminations. That is enough to keep them ahead of the rest of the crowd here. So looking very good for them as well. They've done enough in this game to maintain that 1st place coming into game 4.
Yeah, and this is what it's all about. It's all about picking up those points here and there, keeping our momentum. I mean, Mad Bulls, they had a disappointing 2nd game, but a really good performance there on Erangel earlier tonight, and now Sanhok. So with those eliminations, really keeping them alive, that aggression in terms of the top of the standings. We can see there as well on the other side of that, though, Bonfire Esports struggling alongside Kasei here to pick up points alongside Watch and Learn. I think Watch and Learn particularly really struggling. We mentioned it briefly in that 3rd game there, Neptura, but they've not been making maybe the most correct decisions in terms of positioning so far today, or also when it comes to their fights, just not being perhaps coordinated enough as a team. We've not saw them come together and sort of synergy that we're looking at, but we really see out of the likes of Mad Bulls or Sly.
I have 2 points to make here, Highland. Mad Bulls 45 to Sly Machine 28, so big old jump coming in from them. But SBG have gained their 1st points of the evening, 6 points through that Sanhok game. I'm pretty sure they got that 1 placement point in Sanhok as well. So they have made it to the 2nd page of the leaderboard, but they've not gotten any points until game number 3. I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm really surprised also because we've seen a lot of SBG when it comes to the fighting throughout the first 3 games.
Right.
We've got to see what they can bring, though, on Miramar, because it's going to be back to the desert once more, Neptura, where we're going to see all of the action and you guys there after a short break.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are once again. Back after that short break, we are here with game number 4 of the first day of season 3 of the European Women's League. We are back here with a Miramar game. Now, Highland, we saw in the last Miramar some big things happen. The zones were not kind to 99% of these players, of these teams, but we did see Sly sneak it away from Dreamers at the end. Is something like that going to happen in this next game?
Look, I mean, we've seen sneaks when it comes to Sly taking out Dreamers in Miramar in the last one. We've also seen sneaks and flex just on Sanhok taking a win there. The zones also, I've got to say, Neptura, they've been leading into these third parties. They've been leading into these sneaky little wins because they haven't been nice all 3 games so far. And really, when are the zones nice in PUBG Mobile, Natura? They always seem challenging in their own way. And as a player, and it is also the audience watching, is us watching the broadcast. I mean, we can only really, I would say weep or like feel pity, but really it's somewhat exciting watching these players suffer.
Listen, I'm all for carnage, right? I want island zones, I want hard shifts, I'm all down for it, but the way these zones have been consistently rotten for a lot of these teams has got to be really frustrating. Hopefully, game number 4 will give them a little bit of respite, allow them to actually play properly rather than just chasing zones, etc. So we'll see how that goes for them. Right now, there is an even split of these teams left and right along that plane path coming in here right down the middle. So looks like we won't see too much hot dropping coming in here just yet, although Los Leones could end up being a little bit busy, even busier now that the zone has decided to go full south, full send.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's going to be a bit better here for the side of watch and learn for Fair as well, jumping down towards that south side. We know also the side of TPS are going to be there in the vicinity too. So we're going to be overall, these teams on the south side, some more respite for them, considering that last Miramar really just wasn't in their favor. I also like some of those further positions, right? I mean, Langus Bliss over towards the western side where you're looking at them around Chumacera. Really good positions overall in terms of that high ground. Also great for looting up in the earlier phases. Expecting them probably to stay there while the zone's in their vicinity as well, maybe towards that stage 2, stage 3 points, and also capitalize right on that position over teams on that northern end, rotating down, maybe trying to avoid having ended up or also, sorry, should I say, and then moving down towards that western side, and that's where they can catch them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many teams decide to really center up over Los Leones, right? We saw 4 or 5 teams in the surrounding areas a little bit further afield, some closer. But with this new zone, I am wondering, because Los Leones is big enough to handle 5 or 6 teams, you know, depending on how closely they're bunched up. And it would be interesting to see how many teams decide to actually full send into Los Leones and just wait it out. I don't think that would be the wisest idea, but it is something that could work, right? You have a whole lot of cover with all of these buildings. There is a lot of loot in there, and if you get in early enough, you could actually end up taking 1 or 2 unsuspecting players out and solidifying your position in town. So it could work. It's just not something I would maybe suggest, but I do wonder if it is on a few of these teams' mind.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that could be on their mind. I think potentially the mountains towards the north and towards the outskirts on the east of Los Leones could be a possibility for these teams to just settle up, have a bit of a high ground and a position, a scat around the area of Los Leones from a distance. I suspect, though, that these teams won't go to Los Leones to begin with. Unless that zone starts to centralize onto the city, it's going to be really difficult for these teams to get back out if that zone does shift away.
Yeah.
So maybe, as we say, they do shift towards that western side. They do shift towards, 'Towards, 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 ' That western side, though, is also quite open and quite hilly. You've got also, and of course, as we say, goes towards Los Leones, that very dangerous expanse towards the western entrance of that city as well. So it could be difficult for both options for these teams. They both have their challenges.
Indeed. I kind of like what Watch and Learn have done, right? They're over in Los Higos in the island area, and I do actually like that from them. It is slightly in zone. It's not quite. They do have to go across the bridge, I think. But for the most part, it's much closer to zone than a lot of these teams are, and no one's down there. So they're having a really easy, slow loot time, loot phase. You're only only got 3.5 more minutes. You got plenty of time until the next zone shift, so they can just relax for a little bit. And I think maybe some teams prefer that, right? They prefer that more relaxed looting phase to just kind of get their head in the game, get their wits about them, and move forward strongly. Some teams really prefer that in their strategy, and if that is the way they like, then they are ready for this next game.
Would I be called a relaxed player if I hide away and just loot up at the edge of the zone for 5 phases? Yes. I mean, that's a relaxing way to play. I feel like on edge though, because I'm too scared to go into the center initially, like just to look at the good high locations for where the players are, and then I have no information and I crawl my way slowly. This is how my games go. I'm a very relaxed player when it comes to my play style. Extreme relaxation.
Yeah, it's great. You know, it's what a way to wind down after a long day is playing some relaxed PUBG, because that's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of PUBG. You think of it's a very relaxing game for sure. But it's gonna be interesting to see how relaxed these players get about this particular game. At the moment, AOR moving silently and relaxedly across the Picado fields, I suppose they're called. As we see Watch and Learn now crossing that bridge again. No opposition coming their way. They can't be sure of that, but we kind of can, right? We know that there aren't any teams around them, so they're just going to cross that bridge, move on in, and get the best spot in zone for them. So a good start to this game for them.
Yeah, and if you're watching Learn as well, I'm just happy they made it, quite frankly, across that bridge before the zone starts to close in on them as well. This time, they've got a much more comfier position for themselves. So with this southern side phase 1 shift for them, I think that they've got a lot of the good looting phase done for now. I would hope so. It looks like they've got a decent enough split with some smoke, some nades in each of their pockets. And moving towards that high ground early on could be an also beneficial factor, depending on where that phase 2 zones getting shifts, getting that high ground early on could give them a little bit of an easier time choosing an options, and also with those vehicles getting that first rotation into a better spot later on. So Watch and Learn, definitely a better performance here coming in from that last Miramar. I'm glad to see that improvement.
Yeah, good stuff. Again, it's being a Miramar, and it's being a very relaxed Miramar because, we do have that kind of a lot of teams were already in zone. It went down to the south. Yes, it's a hard shift, so teams have to be on the move, but no one is looking for a fight just now. So this is going to be a bit of a longer game. Teams are chilling. Teams are vibing. We have all 18 squads, all 4 players up for each of the 18, so 72 players involved right now, but maybe not for long. Foreign esports looking over at Bra right now. Looks like this is the kind of crater between Picado and Los Leones. Yes, it is. So a big position to really hold on to or to take from whichever side you're on, right? So this is a very important fight coming up.
Very important indeed, but none of them really wanting to push in onto the other for now. BRX, they've got a compound for themselves as well. They've got some sort of coverage coming from the backside where you see AOR silently making their move behind BRX as well. So there's these extra teams. I mean, we saw on the other hand of that Mountainside Dreamers too, of course. So there's a position or a cluster of teams around this position, you could say, where if one team does start to engage on the other, that then opens up that kind of worms on where other teams can start to look in to push further into a position while you're distracted, and eventually that core position really ends up becoming a really dangerous position. Yes, opportunity with eliminations, of course, but dangerous in terms of being knocked out very early on.
100%. Demuerte in the kill feed going at it, but we're on Dreamer Molly here trying to put a wrench in the works for that team across the way there. They're trying to move out, but not really happening for them as they try and move out in that buggy. No knocks coming through though. Molly not able to hit those shots effectively enough, and it looks like Laura down in the basin is going to be the last. Almost the last one, but actually Dreamer's gonna just leave them alone. It's not worth it. They're gonna try and possibly cut them off on the other side, which would be a good play for them. But we're on board with Demuerte Occident. Here we go. Matasha looking over towards, not sure who that was. Oh yeah, it's QZ. Quasi, whichever one you want, however you want to pronounce it. Yeah, gonna be an interesting one. They're trying to push in, right? They're trying to make that high ground their own as we see the zone move in. But high ground is definitely the advantage here. I'm not sure how they're gonna do this for themselves, so we'll see how that works out for them. But yeah, Highland, that zone has moved in. Sly, the only one on those eastern cliff sides. So are they going to try and move in? Are they going to wait and see what happens next? Because it's still a really good position to hold.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, don't want to jump into that city, as we said. It's very likely, okay, going to be around the city, but where is it going to be around the city as well? So being around, again, that outskirts and around that eastern mountaintop, they still, as we said, got that mountain, Natura, they've got that high ground for themselves. They just need to wait a little bit longer to see where that third phase will go. It's about 20 seconds away, of course, from closing in, so not long to wait, and then they can start to make that rotation. They can start to see where teams will be focusing up around Los Leones and try to move along into the mid-game from there.
Still 18 teams left alive, but you're starting to see those numbers dwindle in the players. Carmelia going on down for Shockwave there as QZ Esports Melzi holding down the fort. That's one, that's two. GG's, 2 points for them going their way. They're holding down this area pretty darn well. Lisa going down as well as Purple does some stuff with the smokes, trying to get back to her teammates, trying to do something as they fend off 2 different teams right now, Highland.
And then Muerte, one of them here on the front, is where the nades are going. Purple using our smoke as well as Shockwave going to be the first to go out. Wow. Surprise there from Shockwave, really just coming off of a good Sanhok game, but again struggling on Miramar a second time around. Kasei Esports repositioned there. Purple spraying though. That's a dangerous position to be spraying in. Now the nade, the moment that's breaking through, they know that Purple is there, and the nade comes through, starts to damage onto Purple. Another one will get spotted, jumps out of the way of that second nade, finds the knock. Purple, good maneuvering so far. Is Matesha chucking a third nade, but is it too many? They're going to have to land this one more accurately. Ooh. And Purple's out there again, but down to half health. These nades are taking damage down onto Purple and Melcy Letty, needing to join up into the action. But they're also quite busy indeed with this third team, as you say, Kasei around between the Muerte. We'll find another. And the Muerte splitting up now. Kasei, Melcy here now with the support, getting the better of them. Kasei going to be struggling. Melilla taking a step back as well. Down to 20% health. Behind the tree she goes for a fire down, but it won't be enough. And fortunately for Demuerte, it is the end of the Spanish name on the Spanish map. And watch and learn. Meanwhile, watching on the distance here is A2 very quietly inside of a phase 2 position. Phase 3 is going to shift up, and we're going to see where it goes here, Neptura.
Ouch. Well, that's not Los Leones, is it? That's nowhere near. Oh my goodness.
And this is why, yeah, we were saying, yeah, be careful about Los Leones, because now all of these teams, they got to move down to the south.
Yep. They got to move ASAP. Sly, if they don't watch out, they're going to have a really hard time getting into that zone. So they got to be very, very quick with this, very, very speedy in that rotation. They got to know where they're going and go there fast. Barce doing their utmost. There you go, into a warehouse. Not a bad position. I don't like this area in general in competitive. It's very, very open and it can be very difficult to actually do anything with it. But if it's all you've got, this warehouse is probably one of the better ones to choose. But they are going to just use it as a pit stop, trying to scout out, see where they can go next. But it is Bonfire on the other side, Mad Bulls on one of the other angles as well as, so there's a lot of movement going around in this really open area. Yeah, easy to take those shots. Oh, and that might not be very good at all. Linda does go down, but will another one? That is the question.
Yeah, Zeros trying to get a second one through. We'll have to peek down for now. Is AR silently also within their own skirmish here. Neptura, they will be eliminated. Barce, Zeros as well, going to get the better of AOR. So for Barce, really picking up at least one for now. They'll look to take down the second. And unfortunately for Bonfire, they are also very split now, and they don't have those vehicles for themselves to continue to get into the zone. And this is the problem, right? As we saw, getting out of Los Leones, if you're not quick enough to do it, you get caught, you get slowed down. I mean, even Barce here slowed with Bonfire, yes, in a bad position, but Bonfire also really gatekeeping here Zeros from moving further in towards that maybe northern side or further into the center portion of the zone where they would have to be more open Zeros in that movement.
Yeah, I agree. This is, as much as it's getting them points, right, as much as they're trying to take advantage of Bonfire's weak position, it is interesting to see that it's very much slowing them down in terms of their own rotation. That's something you gotta really think about when you're trying to make points, trying to get those eliminations as much as possible. You have to really balance that and weigh that cost of time against the points that you will be getting. So you have to be very, very careful. Yeah, BSY, they are looking a little bit worse for wear coming into that elimination feed, but we shall see how that goes. Let's see. Language Bliss, on the other hand, in a solid position. This is actually a really good spot for them. I can't quite see if it's in zone or not. I can't tell with this mini map. It looks like it is. It looks perfectly fine. Yeah, it's all good to go. Yeah, Barce, though, we'll go back to them. They do have that knockdown. And this is what I'm talking about, Highland, right? It's this cost of time as we see more teams trying to do that late rotation. They're going to show up here between Mad Bulls and Barce as well. And it could just not work out in their favor at all.
Yeah, Barce really going to be slowed down here, and this is where you can see 500 meters or so away from this next phase is stage 4 is going to be very quickly also rotating away from them. Only a minute and a half to navigate now one of the most difficult portions of the exit of Los Leones, that western side. We warned about it being so open. They do have a bit of an opening, though. They could now utilize at least the time they've got now to get back into this zone. They are, even though when they get into the zone, some of these further teams going to be lacking that information. That's the really crucial part about this mid-game as well. You can see teams trying to rotate into the zone, but lacking that information of where so many of these teams are. Still 15 teams, keep in mind here as well, Neptura, in this squeezed zone, in this space.
Oh, I quite like that smoke, actually. It gives her some room to wiggle around and try and get inside this new zone. We'll see how it goes for them. Nice positioning from Barce as well, actually. Yeah, really good push coming in here from these girls and just catching out Lex here, or Lex rather. A little bit too separate for their own good. Nicely done. Now it's just that one left. Low health. 2 left, actually. We see that car coming into play here at the north side. And I think for so far, I don't want to curse it or anything, but I think Barce have this one in the bag.
Uh-oh, you said it now, Natura.
I know.
I pray for Barca. Oh, goodness me. Those are dangerous words, Natura, to be saying at this point of the game. Lex, meanwhile, they will be the two, though, here, Darcy and the crew, trying to reposition still as that two players who were slightly separated. Get back together. You've also got Langer's Bliss there in the background, and Watch and Learn as well, meanwhile, will also fall. It will be, I believe, yeah, even Mad falling down here. SGB falling away. Lex grabbing those eliminations onto Barca. So with one now down also for Barca, you can see there's a trio maybe not willing to focus too much.
Whoa.
On a heavy push together. Well, never mind that. And Zeros going very aggressive. The rest of the team, though, they weren't there, as we said, to follow up behind her.
Yeah.
And now, a bit of a panicked push. Yeah, Langers, as we mentioned as well, that third party, right? I mean, it was a bit of a poor position to try to come over that hill, and they got a bit too sucked in there to Lex and that fight, and paid the price for it between them and Langers. SBG, another one, though, here. Neptura, they've got at least that one elimination. They're looking for the side of Foreign. Foreign are absolutely put into the wasteland, though.
Hello?
That'll be a triple going over to Nina.
It's a full.
Almost squad wipes Foreign on the entrance.
It is a squad wipe. She got 4 eliminations.
Oh, okay.
There. Oh my god, Nina. Okay. Okay, fine. Take those 4 eliminations. Awesome. Well done, them. TPES, though, getting their third. SBG up to 5 now as they go up against Bra as well. Barce, I owe you a personal apology because I completely cast a curse you, so you're welcome. See you next in the next game as well. You do see Dreamers in the background there, still outside of zone here, just trying to make a very, very late rotation. At this point in the game, I don't hate it. There's a lot of action going on. That zone is horrendous. We saw a little sneak peek there. It's gone all the way up to the north side, so if I were Dreamer, I'd probably be doing somewhat of the same sort of thing as the nade goes flying past SBG. They're gonna be pushing on up here, and it's really nice aggressive push from them.
Yeah, I mean, SBG, this really looks like them, but the extra 4 eliminations they would get from Foreign, who, actually, I will say Foreign, but it doesn't look like there's one alive there, and I'm sure they've hung on onto the edge of the zone.
Oh,
they're not quite finished yet. Well, okay, never mind. There's my caster curse. We've done it. We've done it each. Well, nice. There we go. That's it. Goodbye, Foreigners. SBG will be climbing up the hill now, and SBG, as we say, up to 5. I think this momentum really helping them. They seem to be pushing a bit more aggressively here as a team. They've got themselves together. A position as this zone closes in, though. BRX. Really, they look like they're struggling in that Jeep, and they will fall. Aurora will be knocked down by TPS, and they will also, TPS, be struggling down to 3. Is it's all just along this mountainside, all of those teams on the other end looking down at them.
Yikes. Yeah, that's what happens when you get caught up fighting right outside of zone. Zone moves away, and there's 4 different teams. You just don't have the time to move in when you need to. You will get taken out on that next rotation. So unfortunate for SBG and other teams on that side. But yeah, the Langer's Bliss and all these other teams on this side have a really good shot now at getting some real points here. You see QSY here, 11 eliminations on the board so far. TPES with 7 and Fair with 5 as well. So looking really good. Mabel's still in the game here. Top 5 for them. That's going to be really good, just a solo. But with 2 points and at least a top 5 position, with the gap they've got, it's consistent enough.
Big moves here, though, from Kasei. That zone, it was still away from all of these players as well, Neptura, and Rebel's going to be the first to jump into really that basin in the center. The smokes are there for now, and that's really the only thing is protecting you at the bottom with all of those teams looking down onto you. The rest of Kasei will slowly join up, but you can see TPS looking at those positions. You can see, but now Kasei, they seem to have got a piece of control of this zone, and no one actually punishing here TPS. So
Yeah.
for Kasei, that really dangerous move
Whoa.
ends up paying off. And no one was looking at them at that point in zone. Everyone was trying to wait until that next stage 7 shift. And Kasei really snatching up that center spot for now. Airdrop's even going to go down onto them. Maybe a bit of extra position to block themselves against. Mad Bull's dodging. Yeah, dodging. Yeah, I mean, he can dodge the vehicles, but he can't dodge that many bullets. And TPS on the other end of that basin. Lexa, the only one trying to survive, his nade. Just a bit wide there. That's going to be big.
That nade.
Oh, 1 second. Oh, okay.
Oh, we're just waiting for that countdown to happen. I love the new nade stats that we got, like real-time countdown. That's awesome. I love that so much. That is the end. That is death right there, I think. No, it didn't happen. Okay. I guess that nade went. Nope, there we go. That's
some
it.
More.
Game over.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nades. There's a lot of stress in that corner coming through for Laggers. They've got to really pinch themselves up against the side of Fair, and I mean, Fair, they're going to take him out. They will add up now their tally to 13. Is it even going to clear out the side of Kasei? And it's only to PS. Lexus, the solo player, but it's 4 of Fair. It is really unfair, quite frankly, but they're going to try their best, and that nade is going to bounce down on in onto Lexo, and it's going to be the elimination. Is the bouncy ball straight in to the winner chicken dinner. And fair play to them. Neptura, they get themselves a heck of a lot of eliminations, as is fashion for tonight's winner chicken dinners. And also, of course, that win on the board for Miramar.
That was brilliant. What a game from Fair, I have to say. I only caught wind of that split they were doing, that outline that they were putting on that mini map in the last few seconds. But what a strong position for them to kind of push up as a team, 1-1-1 split across that zone, really pushing these teams out of any sort of chance they had at the win. And you love to see it. A really good job from them.
Yeah, and this is also really interesting. There's so many of these different teams, right, who were struggling maybe at the start of their day are now coming up to get these massive performances. And TPS, who, yes, now also get that second position as placement points, those eliminations they were able to get for themselves, coupling that with maybe some of those mixed performances earlier on, they also are getting themselves back up on that leaderboard. So it's really intriguing to see that this leaderboard, as much as you see one team maybe get a lot of eliminations, get that chicken dinner on board, is overall staying fairly even, these standings between so many of these teams.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, 24 points going to Fairway is a brilliant bit of a bit of playing there. With it all being so close, Fairway should be very close to the top 3, I would have thought, depending on where they were at the end of last game. Can't quite remember where they were, but still 24 points with how close it really is. Yes, you've got kind of a few gaps here and there, so first and second has a gap, probably fourth and fifth, stuff like that, but in between those gaps is a lot of teams with very few points between them, as you just said. So 24 total points is a big game. So at this point in the competition, having one win, every win is going to get you closer and closer to where you want to be, and also maintain a larger gap between your opponents.
Exactly, and it's about those big performances like Fair have been having, like also Flex had in the game before, right? And these big performances are what is getting those teams ahead, is getting them in to those top positions. Because at the end of the day, right, at the end of these 2 nights that Group A will have, only the top 3 Neptura are going to go straight through to the finals. And if you can dodge out on a whole week of potential stress, I mean, yeah, sure, is learning opportunities, but you can relax, you can chill, you can see what these other teams are doing and learn from their strategies and try to find ways against it. Then the finals going straight there is a great opportunity. And I mean, let's be honest, also gets you in contention straight away for that prize money at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you gotta think as well, it's brownie points, right? You got a certain if you
Mm.
get top 3, you go straight to finals, you get to the finals and go, "We're practically invited here because we got top 3."
Yeah,
So, there's
right?
a confidence
Like,
boost in that, right?
this is the thing, Natura, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
it knocks off so much stress. I think that's the
Mhm.
big thing, right? It's like, yeah, you could practice more, but the stress factor and the
Mhm.
anxiety of trying to get through a whole another stage, you can
Yeah.
completely wipe that off your
Yeah.
mind.
100%. Yeah. Absolutely, as Purple is our MVP here, but she's closely followed by Rose and also Melzy as well here. Certainly in the damage department, seeing a lot of the QS girls coming in here, or QSY rather, um, coming in here with Purple, Melzy, and Letty here, all fairly even as well. So looking very good across the board. Again, we see it time and time again with these players, with the women's league in general, is always how close they are to each other. Each is as good as each other. They just take turns having the better game, right? And that's what's so interesting to watch. There's far less of a discrepancy in points between each player and skill between each player than we see in a lot of competitions. So I do enjoy that aspect of the women's league because it's so much fun to watch when they're all as good as each other. It's just really down to situation and, individual in the moment decisions. So you gotta love that.
Yeah, and I really like also the fact is the uncertainty of who's going to perform well on each map as well. It's always
Right?
interesting to watch different teams perform and really have those standout performances. Gives everyone, as we say, those opportunities to get
Hmm.
those standout performances. And I mean, fair way with those 24 points. Yeah, they got a lot. I mean, you also mentioned it in that match at the time. Kisei, a lot of eliminations there, 12 elims for themselves, gets them 17 points too. They also had a really good performance alongside TPS with those extra placement points for them.
Hmm. Yeah. Totally. 24 points going the way of Fairway. Nicely done. QC as well, 17 points. So all these sorts of points going to be racking up on the leaderboard. SBG as well has been one to watch. They've doubled their points now. They had 6 coming into game number 4. They've doubled it now to 12. So that is going to put them up a little bit up on that overall leaderboard that we will get to in just a minute here. But we should talk about a little the teams that are in danger of going out, right? As we get closer to the end of day 1, there's
Mm.
only one more game coming into tonight, and then that's the halfway point for Group A. So the bottom 3 teams are going to be out of the competition completely, and I don't remember who they were exactly, but we are going to be seeing that pretty shortly here. And something has got to change, right? Because you only have one more game
Mhm.
tonight and then you have 5 more in 48 hours. So there's really not a whole lot these teams can do unless they can adapt very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, this adaptation really needs to happen for some of those teams at the bottom, as you say, very quickly indeed. Erangel, though, as you said, it started today in Neptune. It might just be some of these teams more comfort. So
Mhm.
we might see them bounce back here when we come back to a potential comfort map for them to close out the day as well.
Right.
There is that argument, of course, as we said, there will always these teams, if they want to be comfortable in their performances throughout the tournament, they need to be
Mhm.
good at all 3 maps, and they need to have
Yes.
at least some idea of how they want to play each of these maps and
Mhm.
how they can win on each of these 3 maps as well.
Mhm.
For the bottom side of those standings, I mean, SBG, they've been getting points these last 2 games. They're still down there, though, where they are silently, and
Yeah.
Barce, who I actually surprised about Barce particularly because I thought, considering what we've seen on, especially the Lady Legends
Mhm.
tournaments just a couple of months ago, there was a lot better performance from them overall. So to see them
Mm.
struggling tonight is something kind of interesting, and hopefully they'll be
Hmm.
able to pick themselves up in this last game and in 48 hours' time.
Yeah. 100%. Hopefully that will be a little bit of a boost for them maybe coming into the next day here, but that is it from us for now. We will be back We will be back in just a few minutes as we go over to our last game of Erangel for the evening. So stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Welcome everybody back to the final game of day 1 of season 3 of the European Women's League. We're going to be jumping back into Erangel in just a few seconds, I'm pretty sure here. But we've seen some wild action coming in from the last 4 games. These girls are really hitting heavy. They are not messing about. They're not waiting around for, teams to come to them. They're taking those points and they are going to like it. So, here we go. Second Erangel, final game of the evening, and we've got a really weird playing path, Highland.
Yeah, I mean, it's going all the way around Zaki, straight down into the Sanhok military base. It's going to be a very, very western playing path. Now, all we need is that eastern zone all the way towards Lipovka, and it's going to be absolutely perfect. Dream final game for me. And then we can just close out the night like we're a perfect game. I'm hoping that, or we could have what happened in our last tournament, if you remember, Neptune. You remember was it the first day we had Sanhok military base, and it was something like 50% water that one game?
Oh my
Do you remember
God,
that all the way back?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is PTSD reminiscent.
So is, isn't
like
it?
of that game. Like
100%.
You think, okay, it's not gonna go towards the ocean. Like, we got lots of land, we got some Nofka here, and then the zone's just like, nah, we're going swimming. It's time to go fishing, boys.
100%. That was nasty. I hated it, but I also loved it at the same time, so I wouldn't mind another one. What is that parachute?
Yeah.
I love that so much.
It's like,
Girl,
is that a dinosaur on it? Like,
it's like a dragon, but like in a circus.
Is it a dragon or a sun? Like, yeah, I want that. Give me that.
I so want that.
I mean, okay, yeah, like, some parachutes are all shiny and flashy, but that is just, that's just
cool.
Like, aggressiveness, and like, you go in with that, people are gonna be scared of you coming in. You know? Like, you see 100%. a blooming dinosaur come down at you, like,
yeah,
man, that's scaring
100%.
me.
I'd be so scared. Good stuff all around. But we did see that zone kind of center up, Highland, a little bit. A decent zone, I'd almost say, but I don't want to jinx it just yet because Erangel has been mean before. It will be mean again, so we'll see how it goes. But for now, is going to allow these teams to loot in peace.
Look, I'm duct taping my mouth after that last one, that
100%.
last game. I'm very scared to say anything about these teams or these players. Yep. The caster curse, it happens so quickly when we say it. Yeah, but it never works for a team that we want to win. Like, it's always every time it's so consistent about eliminating the team that we say is doing good immediately. The moment that we say better, it's like magic, honestly. And it's not just PUBG Mobile; it happens everywhere. Like, every game, in every event ever is the way of the casters. Honestly, it must be, like those rituals where, like, you have to initiate yourself into the ritual. Like, once you can caster curse someone as a on-screen talent, as a caster, then you've made it. That you're initiated into the way of the caster.
It's so true, and I don't get that phenomenon. It needs to be studied by, like, scientists and stuff. Somebody get me
researched academically, like, in some universities, to pick this up
get
now.
Some psychologists on this.
The mind reading ability of casters.
Yeah, 100%.
In all the wrong ways, wrong ways as well.
Yep, totally. Ooh, but I don't like the odds of QC right now. 1700 meters to go is quite the trek. At least they got a lot of time to do so. I'd have to see the map again, but I have a feeling the south side is going to be a little bit busy. Probably have a lot of teams over by Milta area, Milta Power, and all such and so forth. But Yasnaya looking busy as well. You got Barce and Sly here. I think we saw them there in the first Erangel as well. So we got a hot drop coming down again here. Same position, same sort of thing. I doubt anything's gonna really happen here. It's the last game of the night. You're not coming back tomorrow. You really don't want to go out early for this game. I think teams would be really doing themselves a favor if they just held on. They separated themselves from everybody else and just kind of went with the flow a little bit more. Don't be so aggressive this game. It's okay to hold back.
Yeah, I mean, also, I think we saw it in the fourth game, right? With these teams, they were a bit more patient. The adrenaline of the first couple games had gone, and these teams, they're saying, right, look, we had a couple chaotic first 2 games. Sanhok was always going to be chaotic. Miramar, and now this one as well. Let's chill a little bit. I mean, see that? AOR, they're denying that ability to be chill is foreign. They're going to jump in. They're going to lose one note. AOR will not be knocked and eliminated, so they keep all 4 players alive for now. But Grozova immediately knocked again, and a second one very quickly. So foreign. The nades are being accurate here, and you can see it's actually their Repner, right? It's that backfire coming in through for the help of foreign esport. It's that pincer that catches 2. But here comes the support of AOR silently stepping up here with the 4th player together. Petner stepping up, also has to step in for the team, but they're losing the players, and it seems to have shifted back. The strength of these players has shifted from one to the next. Rebner will just drop down into the ocean. Unfortunately, is the last one alive. And it was a brilliant first 2 knocks. Just they weren't able to hold quick enough. I wonder if perhaps Foreign could have bought some more time, used the buildings, ran around a little bit, do the Ring of the Rosies, allow Rebner to get into our fights and then make it more even 3-on-3 situation.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all the strategy in the world is going to come down to that gun skill, right? So if you do all those strategies, all those angles, and then you just miss your shots, you're dead, you're gone, you're done. So I think it's probably what happened there. They could have tried to go in the building, do a little bit of skirting around, as you said. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the 1v1, and they just didn't win. And that is really, really unfortunate because the off angle, that strength became their greatest weakness because they didn't have that extra backup when they both went down. But slightly, I don't want to say, in the kindest possible way, skill issue, right? Because they they can do it, but in that moment it just did not happen. So big rip, but a valiant effort nonetheless, and they're still alive, right? There's still one left up for them, so everything to play for still.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win-win when you've got also bedtime coming up. Is bedtime speedrun any percent, right? I'm sure they just decide, we're gonna fight it. We're gonna win. We're gonna lose support at the end of the match. We're gonna end the game quicker by eliminating our teams, or we fall out.
Yeah, totally. Because, hey, it's 11 p.m. for me right now. It's 10 p.m. for you.
I know, right?
But some of these girls are in Eastern Europe, so it's even later for them. It's more like midnight for them.
It's morning, it's the next day for them. They in the future, Neptura. They can see ahead to the next day. That's scary stuff, being in the future.
Yes, it is.
I wish I could be in the future.
Oh!
I mean,
and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how to get tunnel visioned. Oof. Big rip coming in there, but Bianca being a great distraction there and still keeping alive. So how's this one going to work out? Not good for somebody. Down it goes.
Yeah, and inside the zone as well is pretty rough for PMEWL. They get don't look at the top right. Don't look at the number there. no, it got worse. Oh goodness.
Gets the one.
PMEWL. They're trying their best, but I mean, okay, yeah, they get it because those extra eliminations. They're only 2,000 meters away from the zone. They'll get there eventually, maybe, if the zone doesn't delete them first. Oh no.
Oh my god, yeah. That zone. Straight out to Los Leones, hello? Yes, Naya. And yeah, they're quite far away from this zone coming in here, but so are a lot of teams. You got a lot of teams. Yep, that south side going to be big contention coming through here, but also the western side. You have that one player of foreign still around. You have a couple more on that side, one in Severny, one in George Pole, but Fairway down to the south side here, looking over onto Shockwave. Shockwave not been doing as well as one might have expected of this roster, so they do not want to go out right now. They really need 5 or 6 points to be comfortable going into day number 2.
And they are silently gonna pick up what they can for now. They've lost one on the left-hand side of the fight, and it's trying to reposition, trying to find a position here onto Lex, and they could be beautiful if they can chuck it down onto the center. Will it go over? One in back over to the building themselves. It doesn't find, though, what they want. And Lex are still moving, and it's a coordinate in the hands. That'll be it, though. Yeah. 5 eliminations for AOR. They will fall down in the last position overall. Slime Machine also another knock by them. Oh my goodness me, is Slime Machine down only... Yeah, here to Christo. Was it Slime Machine? Yes, I believe it was. Yeah, his Reefs will be down. They've lost another already. It's looking pretty dire, so yeah, go down to 2.
Goodness, it's all popping off now. I think a lot of teams, as we said, you know, it's getting a bit late. They're being a lot more aggressive, I think. Maybe reckless would be a word. Because they all seem to be not staying in their lane, right? Highland, they're all kind of crossing each other's paths. They're all looking for those eliminations. They're looking for those points. They've had 4 games of playing it strategically, and they just want those kills now. So Purple running through a duo right there. Doesn't lose out, but again, a great bait coming in from Purple. We saw it down in Sosnovka, and we see it again here. Really, really good stuff coming through there. Gets them a couple more eliminations. They're up to 5 now.
I mean, very quickly dispatched of one team. Yeah, I mean, they're making it work as they, after those extra points, doing what they can to get those extra eliminations on their way into the zone as well, alongside so many of those teams. That Northern Shift, keep in mind, it's going to be a difficult one around style, but we cannot deny how difficult this zone could get if it centralizes more around that mountainside, Neptura. It would be a pretty difficult... pretty informational reliant game on your where that terrain will be. Is Lex trying their best meanwhile versus this last member of Bonfire. We're gonna have to hold off on the Stalber theory because Bonfire, they're trying to finish off the last players of Lex. They find that beautiful snipe through the window. They find a peak. They're looking for one more, and you can see Laura giving out information. Yes, they may be knocked, but you can still give the view round to where the position of Lex members are, and you can see they're trying to do their best. Cylinder as well on the other end. Also stepping up now all together to get ready potentially for a push here onto Lex. They're trying to find nades here, but as Darcy also goes down, it's only going to be one more elimination for them. They'll find Laura, but they're down to 1, and McCrew... It really does look like if they could just push up here as one team, McCrew should fall here to Bonfire.
Oh, there we go. I was going to say, I don't love this from Bonfire. That initial push was onto the same angle they were already holding. I would have liked more of a pincer move coming in from them. But they did do it in the end. So, you know, GG is well done. There you go. That is the second team eliminated from the last game of tonight. We're down to 16 teams. And quite a few of them already have solos. Mad Bulls being one of them. So, really... inconsistent with Mad Bulls. They have fantastic games and then a really bad game, and then a really good one, and then an okay one, and then a bad one again. So gotta work a little bit on that consistency. Gotta figure out where it's going wrong, right? It seems like they have a really, really great time, and then they lose most of their players early on. So is that more of a no, not an ego thing. More of a overconfidence thing coming through, or something like that. Something is happening there that is not allowing them to be super consistent. The zone is not going to help that, though. That could be another factor. Just the zone's not favoring them as well as they would have liked, not giving them an easy path in, or even a moderate path in. It's just all hard. This zone is no exception. It's gone to the north of the lake, and that's going to be a tough one for a lot of these teams. This all sides, but basically the north side, going to get really, really busy.
Yeah, I mean, the northern lake, there's still at least those little hills just towards the direct north of that lake itself, where those teams could start to try find a little bit of a high ground. They could try to also control the bridges as well, will be one of those key areas of teams moving in. I think there could be some opportunity there for teams if they're willing to take that risk along the bridge to gatekeep some teams and also cause some more chaos between those teams to have to find new ways to enter onto the zone. You talked about those teams though as well, and I think it's about the momentum for the teams like Mad Bull, right, and Iftura, where it's about maybe looking at, they get a momentum of a couple of kills or eliminations, and they move their way in towards another team. They've already got the momentum of the previous limbs, and they make a big performance. And you can really see it in them, but they're a also fighting heavy team. So this also could be why they have these flip-flop games, right? Where it's like, they have these games where they win every fight, and then have these games where they lose the first fight and the game is done. So it's very all risk and potentially high
sometimes
reward, but can be really sometimes reward is Bad Bulls. I mean, they have the skill. I would like to see a bit more about their performance on positioning and placements as well, for sure, though, right? It's not all about jumping in for the first fight.
100%. Shockwave down to a solo, as well as Sly down to a duo. So the numbers are dwindling pretty quickly here, even though there's still 16 teams alive. The zone is helping that, though. I think we're really looking at the last minute of peace right now, maybe even the last 30 seconds of peace as Mad Bulls do go out there. So down they go, 0 points in hand for the final game of the evening. Not the best position they wanted. It's a bit of a rough ending for them. But you know what? They're number one, and number one by quite a large margin going into this game. So a 0-point game isn't the absolute worst.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a buffer here, and also they're gonna need to hope that buffer lives through this game as well. There's of course teams like Sly, who have had these big performances already today. I mean, you've also got Flex here as well, right, who could be another one of those contenders who we know can pull off the big performances. Currently, you have to look at the elims right now, because they who have these eliminations, they're really ramping him up. They're already up to 10 here in Natura in this game so far. They're looking to try, they're trying to look for another fight here onto TPS. They've lost one though. Well, okay. I'm never talking about a team again. Never mind. Okay, what to say? They were up to 11.
No, Highland.
And now it's all gone. It's got a bit wrong. It's got a bit wrong. Sorry.
Slightly.
I'm putting the hand in front of my mouth now. I'm blocking it. I'm blocking the sound.
Oh no! 15 teams alive and already 11 eliminations. That's insane. Oh, that sucks that it's just down to 1. Wow, that is so unfortunate, though. The minute we're like, oh, wow, what a great team. This is going to go so well for you know what?
Immediately third-partied.
At least they have 11 eliminations. It's fine. They've got loads and loads of points, and that's going to be a really, really good boost for them at the end of this game.
Yeah, I mean, you get 11 eliminations, you're already getting way more than the majority of the teams right in the game anyways, so you've already done your work, whatever happens now. But they're still in the game, so there's still a chance. But I'm careful now, is what I'm saying. The Streamers, they're going to catch out SBG here. Really unfortunate for SBG as well, down to really only these 3 players, and Natura losing now another potentially could be really disastrous. They're quite split as well. Solo here at Bowler, and the other two just finally making it revive. They've got to get more points here as well. They're in last position, remind you, the overall standings.
Yeah, gonna be very difficult here. It's hard, right? Because SBG need to move and do something, but there's a team behind the other team and a team behind them as well. So it is a really hard predicament. You kind of, in this situation, just have to outlast them, not outmaneuver, I think outweight them. I would wait until these teams have decided that they're bored and move on before making their own moves. They have found an opening though, so that is going to be helpful to them, and they're able to move in and around, as we're seeing now. Dreamers trying to fend them off in this little shack, but it's so easily nadeable.
Yeah, I mean, Dreamers really have to keep these smokes up as well. The moment these windows will become available, you can see the nades going to go through, and you can see all the attempts to go into the shack. It's going to be pretty hard, of course, with those nades. Does make the angle onto that window pretty difficult. SBG, they also need a way in here. They need to be careful, though. They're not alone, but still got a third team here on the other end of them. So it's a bit tricky for SBG to move, and being so open on that road. TPS as well. Very stuck here on the cliff. You can see for the rest of BSY, they're just really...
Yikes.
They're just really struggling here to kind of find both an opening. At least now Lexa, knocked, mollied, naded. They can do a little bit more with the position with one knocked, and now they'll close in on the second. Unfortunately for TPS, might just be the end of him here.
Yeah, nicely done. Oh, interesting from SBG here. Just moving on through.
Oh my.
Well, they're not.
This
but,
is sneak.
Waiting. Wow. What a sneak play coming in there. Gets one. Hey, it's their first elimination. They just need more points. There you go. They wanted more than that, but at least it's a 1 point on the board. You know, points are better than no points, so if they get one, that's all good. What? Letty from the vehicle getting that Molotov out of the river and on to...
There's another one.
Elinda. Damla as well goes down. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
What?
I mean, talk about the fishies. I mean, Letty, okay, yeah. The moment she pops her head back up out of the water, though, it's popped immediately by the third one. Like, you could have two of my girls, but you ain't getting the third. There's no way. And VRX Esports is going to also be looking at here today. It's also onto the shack here, grabbing two of their in absolute shambles. Is the rest of BRX come in alongside Flex here. They're trying to dodge out the way of the vehicle, but they run over as they step outside of their own car, and BRX will fall down as we fall to our final 9. Flex taking up that open space, but now the zone already just about shit onto phase 6 here.
It's all going down. Oh... Wait, watch, learn, not having a best of times. Fairway doing some great job here. Yagi doing some stuff. Language Bliss as well as Flex. Oh, hello, just neighbors, just chilling for a minute. Oh, maybe not. Down she goes. Baby is out. As Sesha is able to get their 4th elimination for the team. So GG's there. But it is Barce that's up to 6 eliminations so far. And they got a pretty good decent position inside of zone. So we'll see how that goes. When the zone has shifted down towards that coastline, it's so open. There's one shack inside a zone and everything else is just grass highland. So they have to get these fights done now so they can actually move in.
Yeah, fairway risky, keeping the bags up as well. Very visible in bright luminescent purple in amongst that green grass. Is watch and learn inside the smokes. Gonna chuck a few of those nades down. You can see one being cooked. Their QSE will go down and foreign as well. Gonna fall down in 9th position there in the backdrop. Fairway still moving forward though. Backpack in tow. And Feina ain't having any of it. Will fend off Watch and Learn for now. That zone spooking Watch and Learn into the center cluster of all of these players. And Barce, they have a little bit of a position for themselves here on these rocks. This could potentially be a good game for Barce if they can keep a control of this southern side of the zone. 7 eliminations for them. Fairway now down as well. It's De Muerte keeping themselves alive for the meantime. Barce picking up another, now up to 8.
Wow, 8-8-5. What a game for these top 3 teams, right? Such a boost in points. GG's going all the way through there. QSY ending as that solo with 13. So she got 2 more eliminations. So before going out to the play zone, an excellent result for them. But the nades are flying now. We've seen so many nades coming in here so far for this one. And not stopping anytime soon. Looking really, really good. But Marseille continuing to be that thorn in the side of De Muerte, and meanwhile, Dreamers just chilling. Big chilling up at the top there.
Indeed. I mean, Dreamers, they've only got to wait to see where that zone goes. It's gone towards them. It's all on Barce to make that move forward. De Muerte needs to be taken out. De Muerte is a problem here, Naptura. On Barce's potential chances of winning. And as those smokes dissipate, Barce desperately trying to get into the southern end of this zone. You can see, though, it's so completely open. The only protection is those smokes and the vehicles they put in hand. Trying to get a control of that building that De Muerte has. But NKK, they're not going down. And they finally will, but it's to Dreamers' hands. And Barce, they're going to be in a real predicament here. They got to hope that these next 10 seconds they can survive. The zone comes towards them. Because Dreamers, the cards are on them in this high ground. At least that airdrop will provide some little protection for them to shoot behind them through. Barbie going to fall down. That's one.
Wow.
But Barce, they actually make it work. And Barce, with the chicken dinner, I thought Dreamers were going to be able to clinch out a bit more. But I mean, really, Barce just allowed too much space, I think, in the end there. Dreamers, they definitely could have capitalized more on Barce's approach up that hill.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was so open as well that Dreamers had every opportunity, and it's the second game that's been snatched from them, right? Slided it in the first Miramar, and now Barce in the last game of the evening. But that aside, you have to just really talk about Barce, right? I mean, such a good performance from them. A really good last game coming in here, and they can rest easy tonight, right? They can go to bed and go, we're looking really good for day number 2. So I think they have to be really happy with that. The other team that has to be really happy with that, though, Highland, is QSA as well. I'm sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. But 13 eliminations total, 11 of those taken while there were still 15 teams left. So what a game from them. That's huge coming into day 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about momentum, right? Coming into day 2, they're going to have those extra points. They're going to be in a good position, crucially, going into day 2 to be able to potentially snatch themselves a top 3 position. However, Barce, they've got the utmost momentum coming into that next day as they take that final chicken dinner. 10 eliminations, 10 placement points for them, of course. I mean, now they're really looking strong, Barce, in terms of getting back into the middle of the leaderboard, getting those points, because we talked about them coming in to this final game. We knew they had this type of potential here in Neptura, and to see it now, I think this was the game that we were waiting for.
Yeah, 100%. They took a little bit of time to warm up, but once they warmed up, they've been really strong the last couple of games. It's looked really nice. I wouldn't be surprised if they were somewhere in the region of the top 5, probably top 6 coming in here. I think they were, middle of the road, so like 13th or something. So definitely ones to watch coming into day 2. But then, of course, you also have to think about, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, that these teams for day 1 of Group A, they have to wait another 48 hours. So day 2 is actually going to be day 3 of the competition. We've got Group B coming in tomorrow. So yes, there is momentum coming in here, and you really, really hope that momentum continues and they're able to keep that. But to keep that while not playing is very challenging. So we will see how they perform coming into that first Erangel on day number 2.
Yeah, I mean, even if momentum does slip a bit, it's the confidence as well, Neptura, of being at
Mm-hmm.
the upper end of our leaderboard. It's the confidence in knowing that they've got that ability, that they've got the real chance of getting further into the competition, even snatching a top 3 position. That's
Yeah.
where the real advantage of getting these points in the first day lies. I mean, if you've not got these points now after 5 games, it's definitely playing on your mind. I mean, even the best players will always start to have those doubts eventually of, am
Yeah.
I good enough to be able to get these points in the next day of competition?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. So really something you got to start playing the mind games from here on out with yourself, to be honest. And but here we go. Barca 20 points. A good decent lead against the second place, right? Dreamers and QSay, they're 15 and 13. That is crazy that 12 of those 13 no, 13 of the 13 points for QSay are all eliminations. That is just some epic fighting going on there. But yeah, nice little gap for Barce, but Dreamers and QSay are not in their immediate vicinity. So not going to be hugely effective towards their spot in total. But you see, two teams had 0 points this game, Highland. It's Mambles and it is a BRX. So not so amazing for them. They have to do a little bit better. Mambles still in a decent position. It's all fine. Tell you what, though, it's the French teams for me. SBG and Shockwave both with 1 point each. Shockwave looking really good at the beginning of the night and slipping down a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Shockwave were also doing pretty well in these first couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, we might have seen Shockwave a lot in these fights, but the fights haven't been looking good for Shockwave for the most
Yeah.
part in these first few games today.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Shockwave, they need to relook at, I think, how they're getting into these fights, what's leading to the failures in these skirmishes, and
Mm-hmm.
why they're being taken out early on. Is it something to do with positioning? Is it to do with the transfer into that mid game from the early looting stages that's
Mm-hmm.
affecting him? What is it that's affecting him now? And then they have this day to research that and then come back
Yeah.
stronger alongside like all of these other teams in that second
Mm-hmm.
day. Overall, these standings, it's definitely all to play for. Even the bottom end of those standings towards really the middle portion, even top 5, it's one big performance, one big game away, and you're immediately
Mm-hmm.
into that top side of the leaderboard. So it is quite close if you're not one of those top echelon teams like Mad Bulls or Kasei who have that extra few points lead.
Yeah. But Barca, they are in that top 5 position, looking good. Only 2 points behind that, behind Dreamers in the top 4. So a really, really good game for them. But Dreamers still a good game, right? They were second place, and they're here in the top 4. So looking really, really good for a lot of these teams. The gaps are starting to close. You're starting to see 2, 3 points between each other, not 5, 10, 20 even, like some of them. So looking pretty good for all of these teams here, but you do see this head to head of the 2 top MVPs of the evening so far, and it is Mad Bulls V Nature versus Barce Zeros, 2 very seasoned players, right? And you see that team control coming in here. 39.39%. So Nature is doing 39% of her team's total points or total damage, and Zeros is doing 54.5% of her
Yeah.
team's total stats. So that is just an insane result for both these girls.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane how pivotal Zeros has been for Mad Bulls today. And I think it's down also to the way that the teams are working, right? Is
Hmm.
Barcay, they've got a lot of onus on Zeros is really that core fragger. There's some support there in the back, whereas Mad
Hmm.
Bulls, we saw it in that first game especially, where all 4 of these players are able to compete in those eliminations, are able to work and defend each other and cover a bit of all of the bases. It's not
Right.
that really, I'm going to be a support player, I'm going to be a fragging player.
Yeah.
They've got all the ability, a little bit of everything, as you
Mhm.
could say.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And that's really what you want to see for a top tier team always has those players that are able to do a little bit of everything. So, always really good to see. It's been a fantastic 5 games here for day number 1. I hope you've all enjoyed it as much as we have. And we will be back tomorrow with Group B with last season's winners and loads more of other really experienced teams and good stuff all the way around. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you here same time, same place tomorrow evening. Good night.